Just an old hard rocker running from the dusk till dawn. Yeah, I'm just a midnight walker, wondering what's taking so long. When the sun goes down, that's when I sing my song. Gonna run you down, don't you know that you're on my trail? I'm gonna run you down, don't you know that I'm on your tail? Make those mountains fall, as long as my feet don't fail. When it gets so high, then why my heart is feeling so low? Yeah. When I get so high, then why my heart is feeling so low? I can't stop now. I got too many miles to go. I'm just an old hard rocker running from the dusk till dawn. Yeah, I'm just a midnight walker, wondering what's taking so long. When the sun goes down, that's when I sing my song. Just an old hard rocker running from the dusk till dawn. Yeah, I'm just a midnight walker, wondering what's taking so long. When the sun goes down, that's when I sing my song. Run you down, don't you know that you're on my trail? I'm gonna run you down, don't you know that I'm on your tail? Make those mountains fall, as long as my feet don't fail. When it gets so high, then why my heart is feeling so low? Yeah. When I get so high, then why my heart is feeling so low? I can't stop now. I got too many miles to go. I'm just an old hard rocker running from the dusk till dawn. Yeah, I'm just a midnight walker, wondering what's taking so long. When the sun goes down, that's when I'll sing my song. Just an old hard rocker running from the dusk till dawn. Yeah, I'm just a midnight walker, wondering what is taking so long. When the sun goes down, that's when I sing my song. That you're on my trail. I'm gonna run you down, don't you know that I'm on your tail? Make those mountains fall, as long as my feet don't fail. When it gets so high, then why my heart is feeling so low? Yeah. When I get so high, then why my heart is feeling so low? I can't stop now. I got too many miles to go. I'm just an old hard rocker running from the dusk till dawn. Yeah, I'm just a midnight walker, wondering what's taking so long. When the sun goes down, that's when I'll sing my song. Just an old hard rocker running from the dusk till dawn. Yeah, I'm just a midnight walker, wondering what is taking so long. When the sun goes down, That's when I sing my song. Gonna run you down, don't you know that you're on my trail? I'm gonna run you down, don't you know that I'm on your tail? Make those mountains fall, as long as my feet don't fail. But when it gets so high, then why my heart is feeling so low? Yeah. When I get so high, then why my heart is feeling so low? I can't stop now. I got too many miles to go. I'm just an old hard rocker, running from the dusk till dawn. Yeah, I'm just a midnight walker, wondering what's it taking so long. When the sun goes down, that's when I'll sing my song. Just an old hard rocker, running from the dusk till dawn. Yeah, I'm just a midnight walker, wondering what is taking so long. When the sun goes down, that's when I sing my song. Run you down, don't you know that you're on my trail? I'm gonna run you down, don't you know that I'm on your tail? Make those mountains fall, as long as my feet don't fail. But when it gets so high, then why my heart is feeling so low? Yeah. When I get so high, then why my heart is feeling so low? I can't stop now. got too many miles to go. I'm just an old hard rocker running from the dusk till dawn. Yeah, I'm just a midnight walker, wondering what's it taking so long. When the sun goes down, that's when I'll sing my song. Just an old hard rocker running from the dusk till dawn. Yeah, I'm just a midnight walker, wonder what is taking so long. When the sun goes down, that's when I sing my song. Run you down, don't you know that you're on my trail? I'm gonna run you down, don't you know that I'm on your tail? Make those mountains fall, as long as my feet don't fail. When I get so high, then why my heart is feeling so low? Yeah. When I get so high, then why my heart is feeling so low? I can't stop now. I got too many miles to go. I'm just an old hard rocker running from the dusk till dawn. Yeah, I'm just a midnight walker, wondering what's it taking so long. When the sun goes down, that's when I'll sing my song. Just an old hard rocker running from the dusk till dawn. Yeah, I'm just a midnight walker, wondering what is taking so long. When the sun goes down, that's when I sing my song. that you're on my trail. I'm gonna run you down. Don't you know that I'm on your tail? Make those mountains fall. As long as my feet don't fail. When I get so high, then why my heart is feeling so low? Yeah. When I get so high, then why my heart is feeling so low? I can't stop now. I got too many miles to go. I'm just an old hard rocker running from the dusk till dawn. Yeah, I'm just a midnight walker. Wonder what's it taking so long. When the sun goes down, that's when I'll sing my song. Just an old hard rocker running from the dusk till dawn. Yeah, I'm just a midnight walker. Wonder what's taking so long. When the sun goes down, that's when I sing my song. You're on my trail. I'm gonna run you down. Don't you know that I'm on your tail? Make those mountains fall. As long as my feet don't fail. When I get so high, then why my heart is feeling so low? Yeah. When I get so high, then why my heart is feeling so low? I can't stop now.
And we're live. Oh golly, let me fix that. All right, howdy everybody, how's it going?
Hey there, hi there, ho there.
Chris is live from his basement in Florida, and I am live from Los Alamos, New Mexico.
That shows what you know, Dan. There are no basements in Florida.
So, just so everybody knows, the actual picks will start rolling at 10 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, or, noon Chris's time. So, yeah, until then, we're going to have on a couple guests, talk a little bit about what's going to happen today, how the lotteries run, and yeah.
I'm very, very excited. We're both also entered in the lottery, so you may hear us hoot and holler if either of us gets drawn, which would be very, very cool. Um, Fingers crossed for that. And we've got a lot of friends that are in, so we'll hoot and holler for them as well.
We're also having a competition of who can get the most Hardrock logos in scene.
I'm going to have a harder time with that because I have lost my screen that's supposed to be showing me what our video feed looks like. I don't know what happened.
Well, then you're losing.
I guess I am. I really am.
Oh, looks like we have 130 people on the stream right now. Where's everybody coming from? If you want to share that in the chat, it'd be great to hear from everybody. Nobody's told me where they're from yet.
I'm in Florida.
How's the
I'm
weather
not
there,
joking.
Chris?
So it was raining this morning. I went for a run and it was raining a little bit, but not bad. The weather temperature is really good, 71 degrees where I am at the moment, getting up to a high of 74. So it'll be really a very nice day here, to be honest. Kind of a little bit cloudy. Went to the beach last night, and did the sort of things that we do here.
We've got Creed, Colorado was the first person to put in there.
Oh,
I
cool.
was not expecting to see Creed, Colorado pop up first. And then we have Smarter Business G from Austria and Bruno Bauer from Brazil, Carlisle,
Oh,
PA,
wow.
Indiana. It's nice to see people all over the place.
It is
Um,
nice to see people
Carmel Mountain,
uh,
Israel.
enjoying. I'm wondering how many folks that are watching us now have their attention split between us and the Western States Lottery. Of course, that lottery is happening today as well, and our run director Dale Garland is going to be making an appearance over there for their lottery virtually. He's not actually out there where it's happening. We were going to have Craig Thornley on, but because they have like a live event, they're not just doing a live stream. They actually have a whole audience full of folks there in person. We weren't able to get the scheduling right. So we are going to have him on with Dale on one of our on our very next, I think, upcoming podcast, the Hard Talk podcast. I hope everybody has been listening to that and enjoying that. The episode that just dropped had 3 hopefuls, 3 folks that have their names in the lottery. And so we will be wishing happy thoughts for them. We've got a bunch of locations, people from Utah, from Texas, from Colorado, North Carolina, and Vale's watching from Ouray, Colorado, my favorite city. I may live in Florida. I do live in Florida, but Ouray, Colorado is absolutely my favorite place in the entire world.
I see Ligonier, Pennsylvania popped up. I used to run around there a fair amount. Andrew Boyd. Denver, Colorado. I expect to see a lot of people from Denver. All of our Hard Talk statistics say that all of our listeners are located in Denver.
All of our listeners.
Peru. That's pretty cool. They'll have no problem with the altitude.
Oh my gosh, you're not kidding. You're not kidding. And that's something we want to tell people. If you get in, if you have not been to the San Juans before and you happen to get drawn, please get out there early enough that you can get acclimated. I made that mistake. My first run at altitude was the Leadville 100, and I was not acclimated and I struggled. I really struggled. And so now a lot of people ask me, what my secret is finishing Hardrock, living in Florida. And the secret is I get to Colorado as early as I can. That's the big, big secret. England, somebody from the UK is watching with us today.
Crested Butte. Jason Schlarb's in there. How's it going, Jason?
All right. And
Washington looks like
Sarah
we've got a
Lavender Smith,
yeah.
yeah, from Telluride. Sarah Lavender Smith is watching as well. Glad to have her watching along.
Panama.
Mhm.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
It is. It is.
Well, for people in the United States, it's probably at a reasonable time, but for people in other areas of the world, it's probably either pretty late or pretty early, right?
Yeah, that's a very good question. My daughter, I can tell you it is 1 o'clock in the morning where my daughter is in South Korea. I do not think that she will watch the lottery. Although she has been an integral part of all of my Hard Rocks. She's been out there for every single one of them and has been a huge, huge asset on my crew. But I think she'll just have to get a text message from me if I've got any news from today.
Cool. Yeah, it's great to see everybody on today. That's awesome. What sort of tickets do people have? What's your guys' numbers?
Yeah, hopefully everybody's checked their ticket count. That went up several days ago, and there was an opportunity for people to submit corrections or requests for corrections to our lottery director, Blake Wood. So all of those are on there. And then the statistics have been run. So you know what your likelihood is of getting in. But as we talked about on the last podcast, your likelihood, the percentage, it's fun to look at, fun to think about. But all that really matters is what are the names that are drawn today?
One ticket holders, not a lot. That's a specific number. Um, two.
Two.
It's the most we've seen so far. Brad is in here. He's gonna win.
He's got a bunch.
Cool. Four. Yeah, that's Brad Bishop with the 2048 tickets. He is the aid station director. So if and him and his lovely wife, they do cook Hardrock every year,
Oh my
and
gosh.
they make pies, they make brisket, they make a lot of food for the run. And last year they did cook Hardrock in Fort Collins area, and that's where they cook all the brisket, the soups, the get everything prepped for the run. And then um, once the run rolls around, they bring it all out to Silverton, and then it gets moved to all the aid stations from the Legion there in Silverton.
Yeah, it's amazing how much food that they create and that they have out there at all of the aid stations. And of course, every aid station, not everything is cooked ahead of time. A lot of stuff is cooked right there on demand at each of the aid stations. Every aid station has an amazing cook there that is putting together specialties for that aid station. They kind of have a little competition about what each aid station is going to offer. And as we heard in Anna Frost's episode of the Hard Talk podcast, Killian, his first year, he barely carried any nutrition with him at all. He relied heavily on the aid stations and ate like a prince.
Yeah, there's a couple stories that I've really enjoyed from the podcast, and that I think that's one of my favorites. Where's your crew bag? Well, here's my crew bag. It's a handful of Snickers bars and a pair of shoes.
Yeah, that's incredible. Well, it worked for him. I don't recommend that for everyone, but I will say I think if you can rely on the food, if you can really enjoy the food that's at the aid stations, especially the first day, take that in, allow yourself to fuel up. I think that's going to set you up for a really good night and potentially a strong second day at Hard Rock. For folks like Dan and myself, Hard Rock is definitely a 2-day proposition. We're not finishing that sucker in 24 hours.
Well, what you were saying, what was it? A year you ran, you saw somebody running up towards the shrine, and said, "Wow, that guy either really knows what they're doing, or they're not going to have a great time." And it was Kyle Skaggs, right?
There's Skaggs got a course record. Yeah, absolutely. We really want to thank all of the folks that have made this live stream possible. We do have some amazing sponsors for Hard Rock, and you're going to hear us mention them throughout the live stream today. The first sponsor we want to talk about is is method 7. Most sunglasses are too dark or over polarized, killing contrast, not good for trail running. But method 7 lenses are different. Their notch filtering technology and never done before, trail optimized, contrast enhancing polarization give you more light and more contrast. The results are happier eyes, more information for unmistakable foot placement, faster, safer running from dusk to dawn. We want to thank Method 7 for being a proud sponsor of the Hard Rock.
Yeah, and I have a set of those sunglasses. Those things are pretty nice. The contrast is lovely.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you wear them when you go out on the snow to do trail work?
I should never have told you that story.
You told the world that story in the podcast, but it's a lesson. It's a teachable moment for us all that we need to be aware that the snow reflects the sunlight and potentially can burn your eyes.
I mean, I've had a few stupid human errors this week, even besides burning my eyes. I was pouring a beer last night out of a tap, and I leaned in too close to the tap. I pulled the handle and hit myself right in the right in the head with the tap.
I'm, I'm,
All right, it looks like we've got a first guest joining.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Who do we have coming in?
We have Jeff Browning joining us live. Hey, Jeff.
I've
how's it
heard of
going,
him.
man?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Good. How excited are you for the day?
I am really excited. Hopefully
many ti-
number 8.
Hopefully, number 8.
Awesome. Do you know how many
Yeah.
tickets you have?
I have no clue. I don't know. I just enter every year. And then I just
yes.
I let Lady Luck Lottery,
Do
its
you have
thing.
any specific? Because you've been in the past 3 years, if I remember correctly. Do you have any lottery day rituals that you do to make sure? Is there a dance you do, or do
Yeah,
you?
I get up and make coffee like I do every day. No, I don't do anything. I just sometimes I don't even watch the lottery. I just wait till it's all done later in the day and in the past and just see where I end up. I've always I've got in a few times off the wait list. So one time like 10 days out. So it just depends on I don't know. I don't think about it too deeply.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, so
Just let it roll.
we've got our first question for you on the live stream. Sarah Lavender Smith, who's over there in Telluride, she wants to know if you're going to try the Rocky Mountain Slam again this year. You had an unfortunate end to that this year.
No, I probably wait till 2025. I have a couple other projects this year that I'm in Cocodona 250 in May.
Wow.
So and I'm also in the Hardrock or in the Western States Lottery as well, but I only have 2 tickets. So um I'm not planning on doing Western States, but if I happen to crazily get in, um then I would probably postpone Cocodona a year. Then the Rocky Mountain Slam will get postponed another year. So, um, yeah, I'm just whatever the lotteries happen, I'll kind of roll with that. But I'm already in Cocodona. I committed to it, so it's my main focus this year. So
Cool.
yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. That's a tough event.
Hi Sarah, by the way. It
Absolutely.
is a tough event, but it's it's hometown event. It's my backyard. Finishes in Flagstaff, so pretty stoked. I ran the 125 last year, the last 125 of the course, Sedona Canyon's 125, which was new last year. So I just have to scout the first 125 this year. That's my winter project, going down into the desert, which is pretty sweet, having the desert
Cool.
so close. So yeah, I'll have covered pretty much most of the course by the time race day happens in May.
Is that your normal thing when you're doing a new event? Do you go and try to scout the whole course?
If it's close enough, yeah. I mean, it depends on the course. If otherwise, I'm just virtually studying it, but I do study it no matter what. So
Yeah.
So
I mean, otherwise I feel like you're not really managing your mental, you know?
Right. Right.
so
I
we
think
have
that's good advice.
somebody yeah, we just had somebody mention in the chat, 4 tickets in the finished lottery. My finish was coached by Bronco. So you're a coach as well.
I am. I coach full time.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
yeah, I've coached a few people to their hard rock finishes and a lot of 200 plus finishes too.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I've been doing that, 8 years now, full time. So I was graphic designer for 20 plus years, art director, and launched a coaching business in 2016, and that's been what I've been doing since then.
Great.
Yeah, I saw that we were had the old hard rocker looping before live feed kicked in. Um, my wife was like,
Do you
"What is
remember
that?"
recording that?
I do. We Ultraspire. We were in for an athlete summit for Ultraspire, and they booked a small little studio in St. George. Let us go in and actually go in a real studio and um, and record. It was pretty fun. And then we did just like an athlete evening. The founder of Ultraspire, Bryce, and the designer Bryce Thatcher had us come into his house, and we all were hanging out at his house. He had a big house with like a big like living room, basement, family room, and
Mhm.
we replayed it. So we recorded it in the studio, but then we replayed it in the room. So we had footage from both sessions, and we played a bunch of other music that night too. But when Rock Horton and I get together, we usually get our guitars out. That's how we met. Was at Bighorn in 2005. We camped next to each other at Foothills Campground, and we both had our guitars, and he saw my guitar, and I saw, and he goes, "Hey, he goes, you play guitar?" I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Oh, I play guitar too." And he might even had his banjo out that year. I can't remember, but he
Wow.
plays banjo and dobro and guitar, and so I just play guitar. I like to sing and play guitar, so he we were fast friends from that point forward. So
So it
we've
looks
played
like
quite a few
That's
times.
really neat.
we're having a couple other questions from the chat about the course. Which is your favorite direction?
Ooh, I think clockwise.
Okay.
Uh, Counterclockwise is cool, but it's hard that direction. Um, and so I think you're kind of with Grant Swamp Pass and Putnam at the end. It's a
Mhm.
really tough final. Um, and coming out of Telluride and Wasatch Basin, you're kind of slammed with a lot of hard climbs and descents right at the end. Um, I think it makes it more challenging. I think people go out way too hard early in the counterclockwise direction, and they pay the piper later um, because it gets hard at the end. So I do
Yeah.
like that direction because it's a cool direction. But I really like. I'm a good downhill runner, and the clockwise direction is you climb up the walls and you run down the ramps. So I like running down the ramps. They're a lot more fun to run down the ramps. You just got to
Yeah.
have your quads
Yeah.
ready.
So if you think of
I
the course as
I
shoots and ladders, it's
Yeah,
easier to
if shoots
go.
and
Yeah.
ladders. Exactly. Yeah, ramps and walls. I think that's how I think of the course. So, in the counterclockwise direction, um, you're going you're going up the wall or up the ramps and down the walls. So you can't run downhill on steep terrain super fast. You have
Mhm.
to pick your way down because it's little choppy steps when it's super steep. So, and then you have these long climbs at altitude. Um, that are moderate grades, a lot of them. It's not super gnarly, but at altitude, you just can't, in a normal setting at a lower altitude, at least in the front of the pack, we should be able to run all those climbs. And it's harder to run consistently, especially after you go over handies. going up Engineer and going up
Yeah.
Campbird Road. If you can't run a lot, then you're really going to be, you're just hurting. And I think it's easier to run down and just power hike up, because it's steep. Got poles, and especially now that poles are a regular thing. In the early days of Hard Rock, we didn't do that. We just had our hands on our legs. There
Yeah.
weren't poles
Not to
and
mention
pin.
handies in the clockwise direction, handies is a much easier climb.
It
Counterclockwise,
is.
that climb is miserable coming up from Burrows.
Yeah, it's harder at it's really, really steep coming up from Burrows. And you also get handies later in the race. I always feel like handies in either direction, once you go over 14, it knocks your O2 sat level down enough that you never really recover from that. Even if you're pretty acclimated, it knocks you down a
Yeah.
little bit. So it takes away a gear. So it's better to have the
Mm.
gear taken away at, 100K in than it taken away at like 60K in.
I'm I'm on a single gear. I'm on one single gear by the time I get to handies going in the clockwise direction.
Well, you're
I'm
in
a
Florida, right?
fixed gear. Yeah, I'm in Florida. But by
Yeah,
the
that's
time
why.
if I get in, yeah, but if I get in to the years that I get into Hard Rock, I'm out there at least 4, if not 6 weeks before Hard Rock.
So yeah, you're getting acclimation. But I have to say, like, even the where I when I've moved to altitude from a lower altitude, I've had multiple moves over the years where I've moved to higher altitudes. And I feel like, yes, you do acclimate, like, from an O2 sat level, but I feel like you get more efficient the longer you're there. So
Mhm,
meaning, like, I'm thinking back to like when I first moved from like low altitude, like 300 feet, and I moved to Denver. And this was in the 90s, and I was a mountain biker. And there was a specific climb we did like almost every week, um, Bergen Peak outside of Evergreen, and it goes up to like 9,000. Well, I was coming from 300, but that first 6 months, it just knocked me down. And then after about 6 months of living there, all of a sudden I had a lot more gears. So I think there is an initial adaptation, but I think there's an even bigger adaptation that occurs the longer you're at altitude. So
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. I think you're right.
At least
I
that's
think you're
just,
absolutely right.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I don't disagree. I think there's absolutely something that comes with it, and there's an experience as well. The more times you've been there, if you
yeah,
do feel like you're a little behind, it doesn't you're not concerned. You don't feel like your body is completely falling apart because your perceived exertion is higher than you thought it would be.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You get used to the feeling too. Altitude's different.
Yeah, it sure is. Somebody's
So
asking. Oh, go ahead, Dan.
yeah, no, somebody asked in the chat, what are the differences between the Hard Rock 100 and races in the Alps, like the technical parts of them?
Um, I think the Alps are different because it's a combo of like very runnable and smooth single track and very rocky technical. So it's just it's a mix, um, but it's well traveled. So the Alps trails are, you know they're wide and well traveled, and some of the stuff in at Hard Rock, you're like running across tundra and looking for flags. So it's different that way. Plus you can output at a lot higher output for the whole 100, in the Alps, and which also can get you in trouble. um, just because you're at lower altitude. It's Hard Rock climbing, the same amount of vert basically as Hard Rock, but like say if we're talking about UTMB, for example, which would be the closest, you know, uh, like race, but it's way lower. I think the high point. What is anybody out there on the live feed know the exact elevation of Grand Col Ferret? Um, that's the high point. I think I want to say it's around 7,800 feet or 8,000 feet, somewhere around there, 88,
So I
87. I don't know.
so I remember there was this excellent T-shirt that was released. It was from Courtney's Epic Year of the Western States Hard Rock and
UTMB this year.
UTMB. Sorry, yeah, this year, UTMB this year, and the lowest point of the UTMB course was equal to Uray. So it had the graph,
Oh,
it had all of the courses on it. So I
Oh,
was,
you mean the
you know,
highest point of the UTMB
yes,
course?
sorry, the
Highest
highest
point of
point
the
of the
UTMB.
UTMB course is equal to the lowest point of the Hardrock course.
Yes, exactly. That's kind of a trip.
mm, yeah. That's interesting. That's
That
really
puts it in
interesting.
perspective, right? That's what I was
And
gonna say. You take UTMB and you basically, yeah, you just add, 5 or 6 thousand feet to the profile, um, and you kind of have the Hard Rock course.
Yeah.
I don't know how many
Yeah.
climbs, because what Hard Rock's like 13 major climbs or something. I think I'm trying to think how many are UTMB. I don't recall. I'd have to look at the profile, but it's been a few years since I ran that race.
Yeah. Certainly. It does. It has, doesn't it have about the same amount of climb though? Same amount of vert?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're almost identical.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
So it's
33,
like
34,000 feet.
so it'd be like if you ran Hard Rock, but you were given an extra lung to use.
Exactly. It is different. It is different. You have to run a lot more. At least up in the front of the pack, you have to run a lot more on the climbs. You're running a lot more because you're confined to power hiking hard at Hard Rock because of the altitude.
Mhm.
Especially once you get above, like, if you're acclimated well, once you get above like 12,000 feet, 12, 13,000 feet, it's hard to run.
Yeah.
so we had a couple questions in the chat about our ratio here that I'll answer real quick. So the amount of females to males in the race is equivalent to the amount that put into the lottery.
The
So this
the
year,
percentage.
the percentage, correct. Um, and we explained that in the Blakewood episode of the Hard Rock podcast if you want more detail on it. But that's how we came to the numbers of 31 females to, I did not count up the total male slots. They're listed there if you want to do the math real quick. So, Jeff, a question for you. What is your acclimatization plan for Hard Rock? How do you get ready for the, being above 10,000 feet, being above 13,000 feet?
Well, I live at 6,800 feet in Flagstaff. My house is 6,800 feet. So I will do training locally. We have Humphreys Peak, which is 12.6, and the San Francisco Peaks, which are usually open before Hard Rock. So sometimes we have snow, but usually they're open by then, and we can kind of get higher. And I can train up to like 9,200 easily. Uh, but I will go to Hard Rock early always. Last year I went 2 weeks early, um, and typically I go about 8 or 10 days early in the past. Just because that's all I could swing. But now that I'm getting older and I've got some coaches that are working for me and I've got backup a little bit with my coaching business, I'm trying to go earlier. I can still work remotely, so especially with the coaching business, I couldn't as a graphic designer. I could only do some projects remotely, and I couldn't do all projects remotely, so it was a lot more challenging prior to 2016. Um, but now it's a little easier because coaching is easier to do remotely. So as long as I have just Wi-Fi. So,
Yeah.
and now a bunch of now with like Starlink, at least someone in base camp at Cunningham has has Starlink or something. So last year I worked multiple days in Cunningham Gulch out of my tent trailer, just sitting inside my tent trailer working off someone else's Starlink. So that was nice.
When I made the transition in 2010, I made the transition from being a college professor to coaching full time. And the great thing was I never had to go to work. But the bad thing was I was always at work. And that's how it is. You're always getting text messages. You always have check-ins with your athletes. It's rewarding as heck, but it's a 24/7 responsibility, it seems.
It really is. It never really shuts off. I mean, I've already worked this morning.
Yep.
So Saturday morning.
Me too. Yeah.
Everybody's watching the lottery, so everybody's, but you're always dealing with something, like the weekends are when everyone's kind of communicating with you because that's when their long run is. Most people are working a 9 to 5 type job, Monday through Friday. So, you know, Saturdays and Sundays, people are giving you feedback or asking you questions or saying, oh, I got a niggle or whatever. And what do I do? So, you're kind of always on as a coach
Yep, yep, absolutely.
for sure.
We want to remind all of our viewers that we do have some amazing sponsors for Hard Rock, and we want to mention now that this portion of the live stream is brought to us by Nathan Sports. For over 40 years, Nathan has designed best in class running essentials built to enhance runner performance mile after mile. Nathan strives to offer runners the best purpose driven solutions to make every run a great run, including Hard Rock.
So now we're going to bring in a friend of mine, Abby Hughes. She has 2 tickets in the lottery. So, hey, Abby, how's it going?
Hey, good. How are you doing?
What are your plans for lottery day?
Watching the lottery and then go for a run this afternoon.
Nice.
Nothing too crazy.
Very cool. You've got Jeff Browning on here, who is a Hard Rock champion and several-time finisher. So this is your opportunity to ask one of the greatest for advice. If your name gets drawn today, what sort of questions do you have about how you'll approach Hard Rock that Jeff can help you with?
Yeah, that's a great idea, actually. Yeah, so I've got
He'll
200
send
under
you
my
a
belt.
bill after this.
For the game. What do I do if I get in?
Lots of vert.
Yeah.
Train a lot of vert, and I think acclimation strategy is a really important one for Hard Rock specifically. So
Mhm.
having some kind of acclimation strategy before, whether it's coming early or some kind of altitude tent or something you can
Mm.
leverage, I think is an important piece of. Where do you live?
I live in Denver, so getting up to
Okay.
altitude's
So
not
you
too
have
hard for
altitude and you have access. So
me.
spending some time at altitude doing your training higher,
Mhm.
the long run, especially every week, making sure you're getting up, higher, which you have access to, not that far.
Yeah.
So, and then, I would even do some training camps, at altitude, some,
Mhm.
3-day blocks or stuff like that as you lead up to the race, where you're sleeping at 10,
Mhm.
whether it's camping out or, getting an Airbnb or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, if I did get in,
Stuff
I'd
like
love
that.
to come down to Silverton a few weeks early and try to make the most of that.
I think that's the best approach personally, and
Mhm.
especially if you live in Denver, you'll be able to like train quite a bit of stuff at altitude prior, and then just go,
Oh, definitely.
a couple weeks early if you can, or even
Yeah, I
go,
mean,
just for long weekends leading up to the race and come back down to a little lower altitude to recover. I think helps too.
yeah, I mean, during most summers anyways, I usually love getting up to altitude and doing a few weekends a year, just getting in some big mountain runs up high. And it's not too hard for me to get out during the week too, which is nice.
Cool, cool.
We have a question in the chat which I think is fantastic, and I'm gonna go to an ad read here because it relates. But somebody's saying suggestions for someone who lives at sea level, doesn't have enough vacation time to get up high for acclimatization. How horrible will it be? Should I just practice puking during my training runs? And so, because of that question, want to do an ad read for our wonderful friends at Hypoxico. You can get all your next high altitude, get ready for your next high altitude adventure with Hypoxico, offering altitude room conversions, tents, and masks since 1995. And I will say, Hypoxico's products are actually a really great option for people if they're looking for some acclimatization to get ready to go to altitude. I will say from my experience, yeah, there's probably going to be a lot of puking. There's been puking at most of my Hard Rocks and most of my hundreds. My last 100-miler was at sea level in the Keys, in the Florida Keys, and I couldn't keep a single thing down. So for some of us, it's just a factor of running that distance. But are there any other, Bronco Billy, you have any other advice for someone who is coming from sea level that might, maybe me, for example, if I can't get out there early enough, how would you approach it?
Well, we kind of say you need at least 100 hours minimum to have any kind of benefit from altitude. So if you can't do 100 hours more, and really 200 hours is ideal, as a I would say. So like if you can't get that kind of time, because you're going to be at your lowest at about day 2 or 3 at coming to altitude. So a lot of people will come like on Tuesday or Wednesday, right, to Silverton, and then they're going to be at their lowest on race day. So they're going to be, and so your O2 sat level is going to get, pushed into the basement, and then it's got to start climbing out of the basement. So you really have to give yourself at least a week if you're going to, if you want some acclimation benefit. Otherwise, just come right before the race and just roll the dice. And um, that's the best advice from a coaching perspective I can give, because there's so many people that make that mistake of coming on Tuesday or Wednesday from really low altitude and then thinking I'm just going to come a few days early, and it's like, that's not a very good idea, because you're going to be really feeling bad, and your O2 sat level, if you had a pulse oximeter, you're going to be really low on race morning, if you come on Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yep. Yeah.
Nice.
But
Certainly
Hypoxico
best to
could
get out
help.
there. Hypoxico can help. I tell you what, I've known a lot of people that have benefited from their products, and there's some very good research on intermittent hypoxic training, so you don't have to sleep with the mask. You can use it during the day while you're watching TV, or somebody. There's probably somebody. Tell us in the chat. There may be somebody who is sitting at home watching the live stream on their Hypoxico equipment.
I have experience with Hypoxico
inspired.
equipment as well, with coaching athletes. So I have a couple athletes that have Hypoxico systems that have leveraged the intermittent training, like on a treadmill or a stationary bike, where they do hour sessions 3 days a week. And I think that can be really beneficial, just to doing those higher sessions constantly. So you're always getting a stimulus every few days. So I think there is protocols that are really good, and you don't have to sleep in them. Sleeping in them, I have to admit, I've done it twice over the years. And, now I live at altitude, so I don't. But back when I lived in Bend, Oregon at 3,500 feet, when I was getting ready for Hardrock, and one year I was getting ready for Leadville, and I slept in tents in the house, and you wake up hungover, like you feel hungover every day. So it's not very fun. And you get creep. So Max King had a device that actually gives you what your simulated altitude is inside the tent. So I had this little device one year when I was getting ready for Leadville, and I slept in it for 6 weeks. And every night you'd get about 1,500 feet of creep, meaning because you're breathing all the oxygen and it's a sealed tent, you would get creep. So like, let's say you started at 10,000 feet, it'd go up to 11.5 by later in the night. So there'd be times like, as I was bumping the base up, once I was at like 10.5 or something, you would get creep to 12 at night, and you'd wake up at like 4 in the morning being like, I can't breathe. And you like unzip the zipper and stick your head out, and like, oh my gosh, I can't breathe. I even woke up once. I had a dream that someone was pressing down on my chest and I couldn't breathe. And I was sleeping on a cot, okay, inside this tent, because my wife wasn't going to sleep in it, man. And so I was in my office. I had a home office, and so I had this whole pod set up in half my office was set up in a pod, one of the rooms in our house. And so I like kicked my covers, and I kicked the top of the tent off when I woke up, because I was trying to get the person in my dream off of me. And I sat straight up. I was like, unzipped the thing and like stuck my head out. And then I looked at the device, and I was at like 12 something. I was like at 12.5 or something, so there just wasn't any oxygen. So, just know that if you use those systems for sleeping in, you don't recover very well. You recover at night when you sleep, from training stimulus. So it is really, I think the intermittent stuff is a way better approach.
So I guess Hypoxico is also training you to stay up all night, given that information.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And these were old systems. This is way back like 2010, these are like 13, 14 years ago. So, um, yeah, it was, yeah, it was a comical, a good story.
So what about if so both of you guys have access to a lot of vert. I've got access to a lot of vert. Chris doesn't. Um, what do you tell people who can't get a lot of vert? Do treadmill workouts set at like a 20% incline work? Do stairs? What would you tell those people?
Yeah, I would tell them a lot. Well, people who've come from lower altitude for hard rock in the past, we've coached them to like stairs, bridges. I had one guy that was using a 6-story tower. It's like a fire tower type thing that was open to the public. It was an open staircase out, tower out in a park or something. And he would do that over and over with a weight vest. We've, the like incline trainers, like Nordic Track's incline trainers, a great tool because it goes up to 40%. And then it does -6 downhill. So you can actually get some downhill benefit as well, of eccentric load on the quads. So I think, those kind of workouts, they spend a lot of times. It's not real sexy, but the training, but it's functional.
So I think we're going to bring in another Flatlander, and Jeff, no, Greg
Greg
Bargo.
Bargo.
Yep, there we go.
Yeah.
He should be
Yeah.
joining in a second. So there he is.
Awesome.
Greg, how's it
Hey, Greg,
going?
thank you for joining us.
Hey, how's it going? Got my my good luck hard rock gear on. I got my hard rock mug. People are starting to get real annoyed that I talk about hard rock all the time. They're starting to make comments like my 7-year-old son can walk faster than your hard rock pace. They just don't get it.
Well, I think that's fantastic. My family has had to put up with that for a long time. And that's just part of being a hard rocker is you annoy people with the fact that you're a hard rocker. Are you excited about your odds today?
I mean, I don't know if I'm excited about them, but hopefully the my favor, right?
We were just talking about what to do to get prepared for altitude coming from a relatively flat or close to sea level area. You're here in Florida, same as I am. How did you get ready for Hard Rock last year? For anybody that doesn't know, this is Greg Bargo. Finished Hard Rock, his first Hard Rock during the Golden Hour this past year. And really excited to have him on to talk about he's in the lottery again for this year and maybe gets to go and become a true hard rocker by going the second way.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so it took me 10 years to get in. So it's like a lot of people's story. So I waited a while, and when I got in, I tried to make the most of it. But yeah, coming from Florida, it was a little bit tricky. But I did do some hard rock qualifiers while living in Florida, so I started to gain experience on how I should train. And so one thing I do recommend for people is actually getting in the weight room. I would actually do like weighted squats, do a lot of core stuff to just strengthen my quads, strengthen the legs, strengthen the core, all that kind of stuff. I would recommend all that descending. I mean, 33,000 feet of descending coming from Florida is really hard. So really just strengthening the legs. So that was one thing I did is I got in the weight room. And then I like kind of doing my own little training camps when I'm in training mode. So I'm about, 6-7 hours from North Georgia. So I would kind of do some training camp on my own up in North Georgia and kind of get some elevation in that way. But yeah, other than that, you just kind of find what hill you can and go up and down it as many times as possible. And yeah.
So Abby, you had a question for Jeff, right?
I did, yeah, Jeff. I'm curious. Do you do any sort of cross training in the winter, or do you just pretty much run all year round?
I do run all year round, but I bike, I ski, both backcountry ski and Nordic ski, like skate ski, and do like resort skiing. I telemark ski a little bit too, so I mix it up. I alpine ski, telemark ski. Usually telemark ski at the resort only, and then alpine
Mhm.
ski backcountry. But I run a lot. and I still run during the winter. I'm training right now for a 100 miler in January in Phoenix. So it'd be a more runnable cold water 100. And,
Mhm.
and so, I'm pretty much always, training year round. Even if I take an off season, I might take 2 weeks of no running, but I'd be on my bike. And then I would, maybe run 3 or 4 days a week and bike a couple days a week for a few weeks. So I'd have kind of an official 4 to 6 week off season. So I
Mhm.
do take an official off season and I get in the weight room. I'm always in the weight room 3 days a week, but I'll spend more time in the winter in the weight room, a little heavier sessions, like at least once a week, like early in the week, longest away from my long run. But I do powerlifting type sets. So, increasing weight, descending reps uh, to build strength and power. I do plyometrics and all that kind of stuff, and work on mobility as well. So, like full range of motion mobility work. So kind of every time I'm in the weight room 3 days a week, it's like 10 to 15 minutes of mobility work, and then going to like about a 30 to 45 minute strength training session. And usually it's like circuit, you know, supersetting things together, upper body, lower body, or core and lower body, stuff like that. But I do full body. I mainly do push-ups and pull-ups for upper body, just so I don't build a lot of bulk on the upper body, but still are strong, and then really work on weighted stuff for my legs.
Well, yeah, yeah, I'm a big backcountry skier, so I'm always kind of trying to figure out how to work in skiing and running in the winter so that I'm, ready for the summer.
Yeah, and it makes winter more fun because when
It
it
does.
snows, you can get stoked instead of going, "Oh,
Yes.
I gotta go slog in the snow." Um, that's the hardest part of winter training for ultra runners if you live in
Mhm.
mountain locations. I think I definitely benefit from being in Arizona now because we can escape to like Sedona and Phoenix, but Sedona's only like 45, 50 minutes away for dry trailheads and running in shorts. So my long runs tend to be on dirt, in Sedona this time of year. And then, but I'm slogging in the snow during the week if we get snow here in Flagstaff. But we kind of get like Denver, like the Front Range. You get the snow, like it blows through, drops a bunch of snow, and then it melts, and rebounds to 40 some degrees or 50 degrees and melts out. So we're always trying to kind of balance those two things. So I try to play the storms. When the storms come through, that's when you ski. And then when it's melted out, you run. So
That's
just roll
similar
with it.
thing here. When the storms come through, we surf. So it's very similar here in
Right.
Florida. We're only about 12 minutes away from the first names being drawn, and obviously we're all five of us here. We've got our names in. We're all hoping that we'll get to line up with numbers on our chests this summer. But if it doesn't work out, if we're not in, I'd love just to kind of go around and find out what are your plans if you do not get in. How are you going to spend Hard Rock Week? Greg, let's start with you.
I'm not putting that juju on there yet, man.
Oh,
No, um, I haven't decided yet. Let's just say that I'm hoping to get in, and then we'll figure it out from there. But what I've learned just from being there one time, actually running the race, is part of being a hard rocker is, in my opinion, trying to give back to the sport and give back to the race. And I've noticed that Hard Rock veterans, that is a big part of it. Like once we do finish, it's like, man, let's try and help the next person up. Let's get somebody else to a finish. So volunteering in some way, I would love to do that. But yeah, I don't know yet. We'll see. We'll see.
all right, Abby. What are your plans? Are you going to be like Greg? You don't even want to think about, don't want to contemplate not getting in.
It's a nice idea, but I do have a 1% chance of getting in. So to be a little more realistic, I'll most likely be down there helping out in some capacity. I love to spend the whole week down there, head down there the weekend before and just get in some good runs, hang out with everyone, help out where I can, and either volunteer for the race or pace or crew someone, if assuming I know someone that gets in. So yeah, I'll be down there either way.
Yeah, Bronco.
High Lonesome is my backup.
That's
So
good.
uh, luckily Ultra is a sponsor now of High Lonesome, so I think they get one slot. So I think I can even possibly bypass the lottery with a sponsor slot. So that's my backup if I don't get into Hardrock. I've been wanting to do that race, and I'll come to Hardrock. So that'll be my acclimation strategy for High Lonesome: is come to Hardrock early, hang out like I always do, and set up my tent trailer in the San Juans and acclimate, and then help out at Hardrock in some capacity.
Fantastic.
Volunteer.
Fantastic.
So I'm gonna jump in and do an ad read for us. Tailwind Nutrition. From a historic course record to 47 hours and 59 minutes, Tailwind Nutrition has you covered for all your hydration and recovery nutrition needs. Simple and complete, Tailwind Nutrition products combine all you need and nothing you don't, so you can focus on the mountain views, kiss that rock, and recover quickly to go out and tackle your next adventure. We're about
Absolutely.
9 minutes away from our first name drawings. So everybody in the chat, you can get excited. It looked like we had a question about if you don't get into Hardrock, what's the closest equivalent? Well, that depends if you want elevation gain, if you want altitude, or some combination of the both. Yeah, there's a ton of options out there. There's great ones on the Hardrock qualifier list. There's great races outside of that list as well.
Also, people are loving the poster behind you, Jeff. The pre poster there. Good inspiring figure there, for sure.
Yes. Yeah. If anybody wants to beat me, they're gonna have to bleed to do it. That's one of my favorite quotes of his.
It's a great one. That is a great one.
That's come into my head a few times. It came into my head at Bighorn this year. Once I got the lead at like 87, like they might be able to beat me, but they're gonna have to bleed to do it.
Sometimes you got to bleed to win. Yeah. Sometimes you gotta put it out there.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It was a close race for sure.
Is that the closest you've had?
That is the closest win I've had. It was 5 minutes. David Aiello was breathing down my neck at the end. I could see his light coming in, and it was muddy and crazy, and like I fell multiple times on the last descent because I was just hammering. So that quote definitely came into my head during that race. And David and I, when I lived in Bozeman, David and I trained together some, and I know how hard. I know one, that was the first time we faced each other in 100, and I knew he wanted to beat me, and I knew it was like he was going to work extra hard to try to beat me, so I had to work extra hard to hold him off. So it was awesome. I've had this year at Wasatch, I had the closest finish I've ever had. We had a sprint finish for the podium. I got second, and John Love got third, and we ran neck and neck the last 5K. He caught me with like 18 to go. I took off on a downhill in the dark, it was the middle of the night, and got him by about 4 or 5 minutes. And then at the last aid station, he reeled me in, and then we had to run on a gravel pathway. If anybody's done Wasatch recently, they finish now on a gravel pathway along a lake, and it's just rolly in these inlets and then back out and around. And it was shoulder to shoulder because it's a gravel pathway, right? Like an improved pathway. And so we're running shoulder to shoulder, and I just said, "Good job, man," or "strong work," or something like that. And he said, "Thanks, man." And then we didn't say another word for 5K. And we ran shoulder to shoulder. And we got to the last half mile is an uphill pavement. So you come off this trail into a parking lot. We had to take a hike break because there was construction going on. We couldn't find the flags. We're both working together. That's the only other time we talked. We were like, "You see a flag? I don't see a flag. Oh, here's a flag. It was this way," and then we're like, we take off, and again, shoulder to shoulder, running up the hill. And it's a long half-mile climb, circles around. And it was my first time. I had done Wasatch previously, and when it finished at Homestead, so a different place. So I didn't know the finish line finish, but Brian Beckstead from Ultra had explained it to me. Like, visually. He's like, you're going to go up this long curve and then it's going to turn a hard 90 into this lawn. And so, and I could see the lights, and it's dark. And so as we came up around this corner, we're running neck and neck on this curve, and I'm on the outside of the curve, so I've got to run farther, And so we're going around the curve, and I see the finish, that it's a 90-degree through a gate into a lawn, like 40 yards through the finish. And at that point, my 800-meter person from my high school days kicked in. I won conference in the 800-meter my senior year of high school. So I just like, okay, I just got to kick to that corner. And I kicked to the corner and got a jump on him and made it around the corner that boxed him out. And then he tried to come next to me on the last 40-yard sprint finish. And I beat him by 2 seconds, I think. Jeez. That was the closest it's ever been in 100.
Man,
2 seconds.
Well, speaking of getting close, we are getting close to our lottery. Abby, Greg, we really want to thank you guys for joining us to talk. Good luck with the draw today. If either of you gets drawn, when you both get drawn, we may send you a text and ask if you could come back on for reactions. But want to free you up to go and do that. I want to take a couple of seconds here. First of all, I want to thank North Face, the North Face sponsor of Hardrock. I want to take your boldest strides in performance running gear from the North Face. Explore further together. We are just now 3 minutes from the lottery. So what's going to happen is, as you can see on the screen, we have the open split timing results showing up there next to us. And we will have a few names at a time. It's going to be 3 or 5 names. I'm not sure exactly how many we're going to get, but we'll get a few names. We'll have a few seconds to breathe in between the names, celebrate those people that have come in. We have some data on some of these runners. And so if we know anything interesting about these runners, we'll share that with everyone as we move through this. And periodically, we'll be scanning back up to take a look at the list, the status bar of finishers. We have to draw 11 female finishers from the finishers list for women. We have 20 women that will be in the never list. These are people that have never finished Hardrock before. They might have started, but these are people that have never finished Hardrock before. We will be drawing 57 men from the finishers list. These are people like Jeff Browning and myself and Greg Bargo that you just saw, who have finished Hardrock in the past. And then we will have 58 men who are nevers. These are people that have never finished Hardrock. They might have started, but they've never finished. And so those will be our entrance list. Additionally, there will be a number of folks that are drawn for the wait list. Now, we've seen in the chat, people have been asking, how far is the wait list going to go? And we really don't know how many people off the wait list will come in. Back in the old days when I started doing Hardrock, everybody got in off the wait list, or a lot of people got on the wait list. Now, with this current structure for the wait list, we really don't know. I think if you find yourself top 3 on the wait list, you can feel pretty good. Definitely you want to start training. If you find yourself 58 or 70 on the wait list, make sure you've got a backup plan for this summer. So I
have an opinion on that one, Chris.
Do you?
Yes, I did some research last year because I was on the wait list and I got in off the wait list. On average, usually about the top 10 will get in off the wait list. In at least in the finisher bucket, that it was around 10. I think it was up to 15 in the nevers. So
I'll be darned.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Now we don't have a lot of data because we've been doing this lottery not that long.
Right.
This structure. But I always tell my athletes, if they're in the top 10, start training. There's a really good chance you're going to get in. So, but it might be 10 days before. So you better be ready. And if you're not, you're going to be super fit for something else.
All right. Well, I see that it is time now. I think we're probably going to start now. Dan and I are not in control of this. This is happening from, I don't know, where exactly is this happening
it's
from,
a
Dan?
bunker under Los Alamos National Laboratory. No, it's it's happening down in Albuquerque, New Mexico, at one of the board members' houses, Ken Gordon. and they will be doing the draws from there. All right.
All right, and the
Looks like we
first
have
In a
our
two.
cave.
first
It's in a
people coming
cave
in.
somewhere in the San Juans.
Yeah, it's in a cave in the
Our-
San Juans. So it looks like we got our first two names on there. We've got Courtney DeWalter, our course record holder in both the clockwise and counterclockwise directions. Fan of peanut butter, according to Jeff. And Derek Dow as well. So those two people are now in the 2024 running.
Absolutely. Congratulations to Derek Dow coming in as a never. So this will be his first tour of the San Juans. That will be exciting to see. And I don't see it. Yeah, I do. I do see it on the live stream. We're on a tiny bit of a delay. So, but we do see it there. And that's exciting that we're going to get to have both of those. We did reach out to Courtney DeWalter. She's got a conflict today. She's not going to be able to join us on here, but we're going to try to get Derek to come on with us a little bit later and get his reaction. The fact that he is going to be doing his first Hardrock. That's going to be really exciting.
There's our next person just popped up. I guess I'm seeing the delayed version. So I will wait a second to react to it.
I think by the time the voices go out, they're going to see what we see. Tom Remke's is the next draw. This is from the male finishers list. Really excited for Tom to get another tour of the San Juans. Congrats to him.
Cool. Well, we're moving. So 10 tickets got in. Tom Remke's male finishers. Male,
Yep.
61 out of Ogden, Utah. Male never just popped up. Steven Scobie.
From New York, New York. That's pretty cool.
Fly me to Hard Rock.
What would you do Okay.
Yep,
We've got
Jeff Rome.
Jeff Rome got in. Congrats. Another person on the male finishers list. So we now have, now a female never, Lainey Barris from Brick, New Jersey, in the female never list. As we mentioned before, we're drawing separate lotteries for the men and women and for the finishers and the nevers. And the percentage of women that will be drawn is reflective of the percentage of women who were qualified and put their names into the lottery. That's a change that the board made starting with last year's Hardrock. And we're excited to see them continue that to make sure that the percentage of women in the race are reflective of those that have applied for it. As more women do qualifiers and get qualified and thus apply to the run, we're very likely to see that percentage climb, and so the actual number of women in the event climb. You pretty excited, Jeff, about seeing more women in Hardrock?
I am, and I love that. I think side note that was recommended by the women's committee for Hardrock. So there was a women's committee created to come up with a fair way for women to be represented at Hardrock, and that was their recommendation, was the percentage of men to women that entered the lottery. So I think I think it's a great fair way to do it, and I love to see more women in the race. It's cool.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. Me too. Some very strong women. We've talked to a couple of them on the podcast. We've had a couple of strong Hardrock women, including the very first female Hardrocker was on. We've got a couple more names. We've got Miles Lilly from the males finisher list, and Will Fisher from Carbondale, Colorado, coming in as a male never. So we're starting to fill those up. If you are following along on opensplittime.org, you'll see that slider happening. So you'll see we've had one female finisher in, one female never, 3 male finishers, and 3 male nevers so far drawn.
Cool.
It's ticking like clockwork.
I haven't seen your name yet, Chris.
And I haven't seen any of our names. I haven't seen Jeff. I haven't seen yours, Dan, but there's still hope. Until they draw the last name, there's still hope. Lots of people are out there hoping.
Rick Needler just popped up. Brad Bishop, 2,048 tickets. Congrats, Brad.
Man, that is fantastic news. Brad Bishop has been responsible for making sure all of the aid stations are well stocked. I don't know what the aid stations are going to be like this summer with Brad doing the run, but I know that they'll get it covered. Moira Flannery from Utah coming in as a female never. That is awesome. And then Richard Turgeon from is that Quebec?
Yes. Yeah, I think so. Quebec sounds right. Corey Linfield just popped up as well. Jeff, do you like Brad Bishop's cooking at the aid stations?
I do, but I do my own food mostly.
Okay.
So I like I like the finish line food, but I stick to my own. I kind of stick to my own stuff most of the time. I do have a little in the clockwise direction. I do have a little bacon at Sherman, just enough to like a quarter piece, just to taste it and savor it in my mouth, but not enough to cause any GI stress. I go pretty light on my calories.
Well, folks that can start thinking about whether they want that bacon, Aaron Davis from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, coming in as a never. Shigura Furuta,
Megan
sorry for
Hicks
the
just got
pronunciation
drawn.
that I just butchered, from Japan. Lord Gutierrez Kellum from Calgary, Alberta, and Megan Hicks from Silverton. Congrats, Megan. That's very exciting as a female finisher. So that's terrific. We are just super excited for all these people. John Conboy coming in as a male finisher as well from Virginia. Super excited to have all of these folks coming in. We want to take just a second and thank another one of our sponsors, Ultra. Jeff Browning talked about being an Ultra athlete. Since the beginning, Ultra's goal has been to create innovative and purposeful running shoes that help people run more naturally. Ultra's unique natural wide fit toe box allows the toes to relax and spread out, which enhances stability and encourages natural running form. Ultra running shoes have a 0 to low drop, ensuring your body stays in a more natural running position. Ultra's purpose is to unleash human potential by inspiring the world to move naturally. Thank you, Ultra, for sponsoring Hardrock and for sponsoring this live stream.
Ooh, we just had a 2-ticket mail never get in. Costa Alimar.
Oh, he's like a deer in headlights right now.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Woman or man?
Male never.
A male
Cool.
never from Fort Collins, Colorado.
Oh yeah, that's crazy. He better go buy a lottery ticket right now too.
No
Billy
kidding.
Grimes.
He's
We
a
also-
lucky man.
Yeah, another never. Billy Grimes, another Silvertonian. Congratulations.
Amanda Grimes'
Doesn't
husband,
have
if you
to-
know Amanda. Brian Powell, Megan Hicks' husband. Brian just got on a partner.
Oh gosh, lots of love for Silverton right now.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. They don't have to worry about getting acclimated. They just have to worry about walking out the front door on time.
Yeah, that's true.
We have a 4-ticket never. Brady Burgess from Berkeley, California, getting in.
Scott Ulmer.
Scott
there he is.
Ulmer, Denver, Colorado. Scott will be going for his 15th Hard Rock finish. I'm super excited for Scott. Scott and his wife, Barbara, are both Hard Rockers. Barbara finished last year. As I said, Scott has 14 finishes. This will be his opportunity to go for 15, which is really cool.
Chad Womack.
Chad Womack coming in with 256 tickets. We also have Doug Seaver, Coloradan, as a finisher, getting in on 10 tickets. And Robert Panis from Boulder, that 4-ticket lottery winner. We are clicking right around Todd Salzer, another Coloradan from Golden. Congrats, Todd. Really excited to see him getting in again. Great guy, good hard rocker.
I would pronounce that last name, but I'll mess it up. Andy
We'll just say-
Vermilia?
Yeah,
I get
we'll
it?
say Andy from Vermont. You nailed it.
Amber Weibel
nailed it.
from South Lake Tahoe. Female never, 128 tickets. That's awesome.
Carter Williams from Salt Lake City, Utah, and Conrado Bermudez from Jersey City. Jersey City, that high altitude training center there. I'm sure he's got some good mountain experience. He's about to have some, that's for sure. Congrats. Yvonne
Congrats to
Naughton
Yvonne
from Bend,
Naughton.
Oregon. Yeah, very
Yeah,
exciting.
she was on the wait list last year, I believe, for the female finishers, and came
I
off
think,
because I remember
yeah,
making the social media post for it. And yeah, so congrats, Yvonne. John Davis
abs-
from Frederick, Colorado, getting in on
yep.
5 tickets, male finisher. Mel Never
Another
from Fort
Fort,
Collins.
yeah, another Fort Collins person, Frederick Bard. That's fantastic. So we're now 15 out of 57 male finishers drawn. So those finishers that are worried, there's still plenty. Still plenty of names to come, Jeff. You and I, our names could still be in there. Nevers only 16 out of 58 male Nevers. Dan, there's a chance.
So
And
yeah, so if we go up and we're getting an update of our ticket counts now, we've got 3 of 11 female finishers in, 5 of 20 female nevers in, 15 of 57 male finishers in, and 16 of 58 male nevers in.
yeah,
So those are your updates. I haven't seen Jeff's name yet.
no. All right, we're
Wesley,
coming.
your son, I think, is in the chat, Chris.
Is he in the chat? He is. Let's go, Florida. It's my son. He's down in Miami. He has paced me the section from. Well, I tell you what, Jeff, I think you were done in, was it 18, the really nasty, horrible thunderstorm year.
Yes.
I
The
was,
second night was really
yeah.
gnarly.
That second night, my son Wesley, who is in the chat right now, he was pacing me from Cunningham to the finish, and we were above tree line when that storm hit. And
Ooh.
it was, I have, as a not much less as a hard rocker, as a parent, it's the most terrified I have been, knowing that I was responsible for my son being up there in that storm. He sucked as a pacer at the moment because I told him, just go, save yourself. But he,
And
yeah,
did
he
he
was
happily
pacing me.
abandon you?
He happily abandoned me, and it's what he
Victory.
should have
He's
done,
like, "See
right?
you, Dad."
Boom, he was gone. Yep, I think he did 5-minute splits coming down the mountain
We've got
to
some more
get to
names
tree
coming
line.
in. We've got Nick Curry.
Yes,
from the Curry
Nick.
brothers. I think
That
he
is
was on our
fantastic.
wanting to come on list. And I know that
Well, we need to.
Nick Petitella, isn't he a Barkley finisher as well as a hard rocker? 7 times? Boulder, Colorado?
Wow.
Or maybe I'm getting that name mixed up with somebody.
Alexandra
Mm.
Ostazuski from
Ostazuski.
Calgary, Alberta, a female never with 2 tickets. That is awesome. Congrats to her getting in. Daniel Wilson, a male finisher from Tulsa. Dana Munari from San Antonio, Texas, a male never with 8 tickets. And Becky Bates from Kimberly, British Columbia, a female finisher with 5 tickets. Will Thomas from Washington, another male finisher. Feels like that male finisher list is filling up. TJ Pitts, male never with 64 tickets. Oh, we've got somebody from the UK, Derek Fish from Lambert, Great Britain, getting in. Congrats to him. Justin McCallan from California.
Todd is on deck. So we got somebody who wants to come in.
Good. Good. Well, while we're waiting for him to come in, let's just take a second to thank another one of our sponsors. This portion of our live stream is brought to you by Spring Energy. Spring Energy is excited to be energizing athletes at Hardrock and in their training. Congratulations to all who are accepted we'll see you in Silverton. And I'll make that commitment as well. Whether my name gets drawn today or not, I'm going to be there in Silverton helping out and cheering on everybody. We really hope that everyone whose name is drawn today not only gets to line up for Hardrock, but gets that full tour of the San Juans.
Looks like we've got Todd Salzer coming in. Welcome, Todd.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey,
Congrats on your
congrats,
I'm
win.
excited.
man.
Hey, thanks, Chris.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Yeah, thanks, man. Really happy to be back again. It's been a couple years.
So is this your favorite direction coming up, or do you prefer the other direction?
I don't have a favorite direction, honestly. No, I think this direction's I think I have a few more finishes this direction than the other direction, but so it's been in the lucky direction, I guess, for me as far as lotteries go. So, but yeah, no, either way is great. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you have done how many Hardrocks now?
I have 12 finishes. This is going for lucky number 13. I have I think I've like 13 years volunteering or something too. So yeah, if I'm not running, I'm volunteering because it's a place to be.
You know, that's the thing that I absolutely love about you and so many hard rockers is whether you're in or not, you're going to be there. You're going to be helping out. You've got so much to offer as a 12-time finisher, even out there on the course. I want to recommend to the people who are getting in today, especially those nevers, if you see Jeff Browning out on the course, if you happen to be a never that's pretty darn fast and you get to share some miles with Jeff, or if you're a little bit behind, not too far, but a little bit behind Jeff, and you happen to be there with Todd, just hang in and soak up the energy, soak up the experience. Because there's a lot that these hard rockers have to offer. The stories will help the miles go by, and noticing their pace early on. Do you have a strategy typically? Do you try to go out slower at the beginning, or?
That's a good question. It generally is dependent on my training. I mean, I've always had a goal of mid 30s, 36 hours. Was all, and then I always wanted to get in before dark was always, and that's about 39 hours or so is always nice to shoot for that. And so I just tried to set it up where I was feeling good at Ure, still feeling strong, and then see where the cards lay after that. So
Awesome. Yeah. And now, have you gotten? I hesitate to ask this question, but have you gotten all the way around every time you started?
I have one do not finish. No. So 12 to 13. Unfortunately, I did. I made it to Grouse Gulch, I guess. In the direction was that counterclockwise, I guess. So yeah. That was the year. I don't know if you remember Amanda Grimes. Her and Billy, I think. We're trying to they were getting over engineer pass, and I was really feeling like I was gonna to be a liability for myself or for somebody going up over handies. So they passed me and they tried to get me down and get me going, and I was like, I don't know, you got to go. And she made it. She was the final finisher that year in about 47:50. So it was possible, but I just didn't have it that day. So.
Yeah. Did that inspire you to change anything about your training or your approach, or?
My attitude that year, I was really thought I was going to have a great year. And I thought I was like sub 36 and I was going to, PR. And then when things kind of hit the rails, I wasn't prepared for that. And so I was, I think I probably had 8 finishes that year. And then that was the first time that I really hit some serious wall and serious, like, oh my God, you're gonna have to walk to the finish. And I wasn't mentally prepared for that, unfortunately, that year. And so ever since then, I've just been like, you got to figure out, you got to have that end goal of, you're gonna if it's not broken, you're not stopping. So and I just wasn't ready for that year. So yeah, now I am. In the last year, I don't know when I did it last 2020 or 21. I mean, it was a struggle, but yeah, I gutted it out. So
Awesome.
Hoping for some better training this year and feeling a little better. So yeah.
All right. Well, congratulations. We got some more
Chris.
Lottery names coming in
here.
Yeah,
you got to go through them.
So thank you so much for joining. Really, thank you,
Sure.
Todd. We really appreciate you coming in. And good
Yeah, I'll
luck in
see
your
all you
train.
people at the check-in. I'm always working the check-in, so say hi and say, yeah, we'll have a good time.
All right. We'll see you in Silverton.
All right.
Thanks.
All right. I think we've got some more names coming in
Ooh,
here.
yeah.
I do always love seeing him at the check-in. He's always one of the bright smiling faces welcoming everybody there. And all right, I'm getting nervous. Are you nervous, Dan?
Nope. My chances are
You're
so
not.
low. I'm not nervous.
Jeff, what about
Listen,
you? You nervous?
4% is a
I don't
statistical
care,
zero.
man. If I get in, I get in. If I don't, I don't. You know, I just, that means someone else gets to run it if I don't get
All
in.
right,
So
that's true.
I'm
Lico
cool with that.
Earl coming in as a female never from Boulder, Colorado. Super excited about all these nevers getting in. Keith Nippling from Alexandria, Virginia, a male finisher coming in. Michael Marchand from Olympia, Washington, a male never with 2 tickets.
Ooh.
2 tickets. It can happen, guys and gals. It can happen. Eric Storheim, a male never from Lake City. Ho!
Chris Twiggs. Woo!
All right.
Oh, Chris is in.
There we go.
Boom.
I'm
Start training.
I'm start training. I'll start training. Oh, I'm so excited. All right. Woohoo, boy. I sat out last year and it was good. I had a great time. I have to apologize to all my buddies at the Animas Forks aid station that I'm not going to be able to work there. But I did promise them if they can make, we called ourselves the AF, the aid station AF, and so if they can get me a wild AF aid station shirt, I'll wear that proudly to represent my friends there. Serena Ellie is going to be joining us out there as a female never, and Sean Cuniff from Albuquerque.
Albuquerquean, is that a word?
Albuquerque's.
Albuquerque.
And Albuquerque. And Albuquerque's. David Reedman, Madison, Wisconsin.
Chris, that means we're going to have to record a podcast from the course. I'll come pace you.
I'm in. I'm happy to do that.
While you're running down the road.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Since my son is watching the live stream, I need to ask him. Okay, I was just going to ask him to put something in our family group chat so that my wife would know. She's at work right now, but he just did put it in the chat, so my family is getting the word. Andy Reid,
the football coach, is in.
I'm sure he's never heard that before. Tim Blair, a male never from Vancouver, and Benjamin Buckland from Spokane, Washington. Congrats to this male never. Michael Owen from Pomeroy, Ohio. You're an Ohioan. Where is Pomeroy?
Well,
Dan?
Michael's actually pacing me at Hellgate next week. So congrats,
oh my
Michael,
gosh,
for getting in. That's awesome.
That's really cool.
He did it this past year, and he was involved in the trail work as well. What a great guy. He's a race director in southeastern Ohio, exactly where I'm from. I've ran a couple of his races.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Barrett Langton from Indian Hills, Colorado, got in as a never, and Pamela Hart, I may have butchered that name, from Marshfield, Massachusetts, coming in as a never. Paul Terranova from Twin Lakes, Colorado, a male finisher. Congrats to Paul getting in again.
Yeah, back in. That was last year was his first year.
I think so.
Right?
I think
I'm
so.
pretty sure.
Yeah.
We ran around each other quite a bit. Me,
wow.
He and I and Jesse Haynes ran together in the first half. We were really close to each other or together.
Awesome, man. Well, we have drawn. Looks like I say we, the folks in the bunker underneath Los Alamos National Laboratory have drawn 28 male finishers. Maggie Gutturl from Durango coming in as a female finisher. I saw Maggie up there. We were close together toward the finish of the 2022 Hardrock. So great to see Maggie getting in again. But we're 28 out of 57 male finishers have gotten in, Jeff. So still plenty of names to be drawn in that category where you are. So you may get the chance to head out there again with Paul Terranova.
Lauren Davis got in from Bozeman. I used to train with him when I lived in Bozeman.
Oh, fantastic.
Tim
Fay
from Longmont, Colorado.
That's fantastic too. Almost half of the female nevers have been drawn. In fact, now exactly half of the female nevers have been drawn. Jenny Keppel from Reno, Nevada, puts us to halfway through our female nevers. We're about just over halfway through with our female finishers. 5 out of 11 have been drawn. Male nevers, 29 out of 58 have been drawn. And male finishers, 29 out of 57 have been drawn. So we're about halfway through with our lottery, almost half an hour in.
I think the earlier comments on mindset's an important one for Hardrock. It's an important one for all races, but managing your mental expectations as well. It's a good
Betsy
coaching tip.
Nye. There we go. Betsy Nye just got in.
Betsy Nye is going to be going for her 20th Hard Rock finish. I'm super excited that Betsy got in. Not surprised the way the lottery is weighted with as many tickets as she had. 20 tickets in the female finishers lottery. That's the most tickets of any of the finishers, male or female. So we're really excited to have Betsy Nye come back and go for that 20th finish. Not very many people have 20 finishes, and it's exciting to see her go. Pretty darn cool.
Yeah, so we'll just give the totals update here, and I just scrolled up to the total so that way people can visually see it. We're about halfway through on each lottery. And yeah.
And here at the halfway point is a good time for us to thank our sponsor, Smartwool. Founded in 1994 in Steamboat Springs, Colorado, Smartwool was the first outdoor company to create performance merino wool ski socks, revolutionizing the category and forever changing the way outdoor enthusiasts viewed their feet. Since then, Smartwool has continued to innovate and perfect their craft, pushing the boundaries of what's possible with merino wool. We want to thank Smartwool for being a sponsor of the Hardrock 100 Endurance Run and, of course, of this live stream.
So I'll tell a side story while we're waiting on this to refresh.
Yep.
Jeff Rome got in this year, and the
Mhm.
year I won in 2018, I didn't know I was in the lead until I was at Cunningham at 92. So I came into Cunningham, and they told me I was in the lead, and I had gone backwards on the course that year and gotten lost, or thought I was lost, but I was on course. But I'd burned an hour, and I was in second place the whole second half of the race, and was trying to anyway, third almost caught me when I went backwards, and so then I had someone on my tail, and so I was coming into there thinking, I can't remember who was on my tail, but anyway, it ended up being Jeff Rome, but I thought it was someone else. And I got in there and I knew they were pretty close, and so I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm in the lead at Hardrock! Oh my gosh, I'm freaking out!" And so like I'm taking all my gear out of my pack because it's first thing in the morning, going, and I have to go up Little Giant, and I throw all my stuff out and I like take off uphill. And once you get above the trees on that climb out of Cunningham, it's super steep. You could see the switchbacks down below you, and I could see Rome like with his poles, like power hiking super hard because I knew they just told him he was in second place and leads right there, and he could see me, and I could see him, and I was like, "Oh man, I think he's moving faster than me." And so it was a fight to the finish. I got over the top, and then I bombed that downhill and got into the trees before he got over the top, and was able to hold on for the win. But it was a crazy year.
That was absolutely a crazy year, and we're excited for him to get back in. Still waiting to see your name drawn. There's still a good chance of that. I think we've got some more names coming here in just a second.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a dump. It's at least on my end. It says live updating, but it's still on Betsy.
Yep. It's coming. It's sometimes the signals coming from that bunker under Los Alamos National Laboratory get disrupted.
I have to go out back and stoke the fire to get the smoke signal down to Albuquerque.
I do think it's amazing. I mean, we joke, but for those that don't know Hard Rock history, it really was
Jason
started by a
Schlarb.
bunch of Los Alamos
Schlar's
National
back
Lab
in.
folks. Schlarb from Durango, very
Yeah.
excited to have him in. That's very cool.
That's awesome.
Durango finisher with 7 tickets.
Him and Killian were first males one year, right? They came in together.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what year that was. I was in the race that year.
Mm-hmm.
Was that? It was it was a counterclockwise year. That might have been. No, it was a clockwise year. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
it was a clockwise year because the next year was the year I think that Killian hurt himself.
Yeah, when he. Yeah, I didn't get in. That was 2000. So that would have been 2016. Is the year that
Yep.
happened. Those
Yep.
guys finished together.
Pretty amazing. All
That's
right.
my
We've also got
name.
Ryan Cooper from Boulder, Vishal Sani from Los Angeles, a male never with 64 tickets, Claire Heslop from Altamont, Ontario, a female never, Jose Samaniego from Spain, got a Spaniard in. That's fantastic in the male never category. Robert Lallis from Seattle, Washington, a male finisher, getting to come back for another tour of the San Juans. From Missoula, Montana, Babak Rastgufar, and I may not have said that correctly, but I'm still super excited for this male never to get in. Also,
This name I
Sandra
can get.
Carpenter from Evergreen. Yes.
I'm waiting for the low hanging fruit that I can grab and read.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. I just received a picture of the bunker, Dan. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I saw the bunker pop up. I
Yep.
wish there was some way for me to throw it up easily. Andy
Yeah.
Hamilton, 2 tickets, male finisher.
A male finisher getting to come back for to go the other. I hope it's the other direction. Not sure which direction he finished. Bertrand Lidion from Saint-Étienne-de-Creux in France, a male never with 8 tickets. French have done well. French did really well last year.
So it looks like we've got another person ready to come in. Looks like we're going to bring in Michael from Ohio.
Oh, good.
Maybe.
Yeah.
There we go. Hey, Michael, how's it going, man? Maybe. I think he froze.
Meanwhile, we've got David Fuller from Harriman, Utah, getting in as a never. Justin Walker from Salida, Colorado, as a male never. Matthew Van Horn from Utah as a finisher with 3 tickets. We're excited about all those. Michael, can you hear us?
Yep, we got you.
All right. How's it going?
Good. Congrats on getting in.
Thank you. Very surprised.
So have you been to, Michael, have you been down to Silverton before during Hard Rock?
Yeah, he's a 2
Yeah,
finisher
so
last
I,
year, Chris.
I actually was, ran the race last year.
Okay.
And had over a couple times in the numbers in the or 8 years, and so surprised.
Hey, Jamil Curry just popped up.
That is fantastic. That means both Jamil and Nick have gotten in. That's going to be another great time for those brothers. I know I was right behind them in 2022. I was right behind the two of them for a very short period of time. I mean, as we were crossing South Mineral heading out of town in the clockwise direction, I was right behind them. They, on the very first climb, as you can imagine, they got way ahead of me, but I got to be close to Jamil and Nick for a few minutes in 2022. We're super excited for the Corey brothers. They've done so much for the sport, and we're excited that they get to have another tour of the San Juans. Jordan Mackey Richards from Australia is also in as a female never. So we've got lots of international representation.
Yeah, and just
Pretty
right
cool.
now, we're gonna do a quick update of the lists. We've got 7 of 11 female finishers picked, 12 of 20 female nevers picked, 37 of 57 male finishers picked, and 37 of 58 male nevers picked.
Cool. We just got a message that we were going to have the folks from Aravaipa join us, but they're understandably celebrating, and it's pretty loud over there right now with both Nick and Jamil getting in. So we might not be able to bring them on because of all of the excitement, but we're going to hope to get both Nick and Jamil on with us in a future podcast episode of the Hard Talk podcast, talk about hard rockers in the family. We're really excited that they are going to have that opportunity to come back and kiss that rock.
Yeah, so at this
Jeff,
point,
you
I'm
have
going to go ahead
go
and
ahead.
do another ad read.
Good.
Originally created to heal damaged skin, Squirrel's Nut Butter is a superior anti-chafe restorative solve. Using only a handful of all-natural ingredients, Squirrel's Nut Butter reduces skin inflammation and irritation. Used from head to toe, Squirrel's Nut Butter puts an end to your post-race shower yelps.
I'm familiar with those yelps. Owen Wainhouse from the UK, male finisher, gets to come back across the pond and have another tour of the San Juans. We're excited about that. Scott Wiesman from Sandy, Utah, a male never with 64 tickets, gets to come join Owen and the rest of us on the Hardrock course this next year. Chad Piala, Golden, Colorado, male finisher, 11 tickets. Chad gets to have another turn at Hardrock. Super excited for Chad. We're about 2/3 of the way through each of our various lotteries. So still a few names to draw. Those of you that are watching with fingers crossed, keep crossing those fingers, and hopefully your name will be next.
Male never, 128 tickets. Josh Golden
from Durango. All he has to do is hop on the train and head his way up to Silverton. Chris Jones, Sonoma, California. Congrats, Chris. Male never with 512 tickets. So that means Chris has been waiting for a while to get in, but we're excited that Chris gets that turn this year.
Mick Journey Nick.
Yep, Mick Turenick from Mill Creek, Utah, male finisher, coming back. There are 17 more finishers to be drawn, Jeff. Your name is going to be there. Jackie Fritsch, Ouray, Colorado, my favorite place in the world, Ouray, Colorado. Jackie, I'm super excited for you getting to go for your first Hardrock, coming in as a female never with 4 tickets. Michael Thomas, Fort Collins, Colorado, another male finisher, and Diego Pazos from Switzerland, male never. Just all the flags. Hopefully Brian Como is paying attention to which flags he has on hand and which flags he needs to get for that finish line. Joshua Behringer from Breckendale. John Clark from Colorado Springs, 2 male nevers. John Clark had 4 tickets. So guys, it can happen. With just a few tickets, it can happen. Bronco Billy, I'm going to tell you what we're going to do is we're going to wait until we get down. And if your name hasn't been drawn with 2 nevers to go, we're going to boot you off of here because I'm not sure that we want to see your reaction if you don't.
I might cry. No, I won't cry. I actually have to go tile today. I have a bathroom we're renovating. It's off season, so
Yeah.
I'm I'm
Do
gonna
you
be
know, I
tiling the
made
rest of the day, so I'm just dragging this out as long as I can, so I don't have to go tile.
That's fair.
Uh,
I made the mistake. I tiled a room in my house when I was training for Leadville. I'd been in Colorado. I had paced John DeWalt at Hardrock, and then I came home to Florida and tiled my house for 2 weeks, and that was my taper before I went back
oh, that's not
and
a good
ran Leadville.
taper.
It was a horrible taper. I finished with 15 minutes to spare. It's the closest I've come to not making a cutoff in a 100 miler. It was terrible. Grant Mon from Australia. I'm very excited to see Grant get in as a male finisher with 3 tickets. Excited to have him coming back. Samuel Yamamoto from I think that's AB. I think that's Alberta. A male never with 8 tickets.
Susanna Guadarrama from Altadena, California. 8 tickets, female never.
That's fantastic.
I think Brad Bishop had the most tickets so far.
He did. He had 2,048 tickets.
He
That's
did.
so many
Chad
tickets.
Chad Mika from Westminster, Colorado. Well, it's a reminder, if anybody doesn't know how the Hard Rock Lottery works, go back and listen to our episode on that in the Hard Talk podcast. And as Blake Wood explained, for the Nevers in particular, those volunteer tickets really, really help. And Brad Bishop, of course, as our aid station director, had quite a few of those tickets. Peter Lawson from Burlington, Vermont, male finisher. Katharina Harmuth from Switzerland, a female never with 1 ticket, a female never with 1
With
ticket
one,
getting
yeah,
in.
boom.
Fantastic. Bradley Olwin from Colorado also coming in. Matt Campbell from Washington, a male never coming in. That might be the first 1 ticket entrant we've seen. I think it is. Nathaniel Couture, male finisher with 2 tickets. Jean-Yves Malot from France. More French. Stephen England from England. Stephen England from the UK. Very exciting. John Anderson from Truckee. Was in Truckee this summer for a little bit.
I think there's 2 John Andersons in the lottery, so I wonder how the other John Anderson felt. All right. Totals update. We have 46 of 57 male finishers accepted. We have 48 of 58 male nevers accepted. We have 7 of 11 female finishers accepted and 15 of 20 female nevers accepted.
All right.
Getting down
So
to the
we've got a few.
wire.
We're getting down to the wire. Since we're talking about our time on the lottery running out, let's talk about our sponsor, Suunto. Suunto stands for Adventure. Navigation and exploration have been a part of Suunto's DNA since their founding in Finland in 1936. Suunto is proud to support the Hard Rock 100 and the dedicated runners who take on this incredible challenge, not just in Silverton in July, but over the many months and miles it takes to get there. As you prepare for this year's Hard Rock, be sure to check out the new Suunto Vertical with full mapping, solar charging capabilities, and dual frequency GPS with over 85 hours of tracking. Good luck, runners. With over 85 hours of tracking, that's time for you to finish Hard Rock and then go out and do it again in the other direction, which has been done once. Actually, the person
Ouch.
did Hard Rock in one direction, and then did it as a soft rock. Well, didn't a soft rock. Did it in 48 hours in one direction, and then lined up with everybody and went back and did it in the other direction. Can you imagine doing that?
So Katharina was second at UTMB this year.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's going to be a heck of an addition
And she
to
gets
the
a
front
rematch with
runners this
Courtney.
year. Wow.
Oh, this is gonna be awesome.
Oh boy. Those people that are looking for competition at Hard Rock, you've just found it on the female side for sure.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be great to watch.
Yep. Yep. Boy, oh boy. That was great to watch too. It was enjoyable watching that from home and seeing how all of that went down. We will have a live stream going for our race as well, for our run as well. We did this past year for the first time. It's kind of the way of ultras these days, is to be able to bring it to people at home.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how Katarina prepares. I'm sure she'll come early to get ready.
All right, looks like we're rolling
I mean, it'll
again.
be a,
Cody Draper, Trevor
oh,
Bain.
Cody Draper, race director at Bear 100.
Oh, cool.
Oh, fantastic.
Congrats,
put him in
Cody.
for
I
a
used to
good
train
race
with him when I
yesterday.
lived in Logan.
Camille Bruyas. Or Chris, correct my French if that was wrong.
Camille Bruyère from Les Chaux, France. Les Chaux.
See, that's why we like that's why we let Chris read things.
I get to practice that high school French that my parents paid for.
There you go.
We actually did have a lot of French runners this past year, and because I was at the aid station at Animas Forks, I got the opportunity to interact with them and with their crews for quite a while, and they were fantastic. I mean, one of the crews showed up with this massive French flag flying when they got there. It was really I love to see that kind of support from the crews. I love seeing all the crews out there. You know, folks, especially those nevers that are coming, make sure your family gets to come out and support you at Hardrock. You're not going to get, you didn't get to where you are qualifying for Hardrock by yourself. You're not going to get through Hardrock by yourself. Have that family there. Jeff, do you have a bunch of family there when you do your ultras?
It depends on the race. You know, I've been doing them so long, and my family, my kids, I have 3 kids, and they've all grown up around ultras, and so sometimes I have 2 older ones now. They're 18 to 21, and they don't really want to go unless it's at a really cool town. So, you know, they like to go to Steamboat. They like to go to Western States. Hard Rock, because I have to go acclimate and we're there for so long. My wife usually comes, but my son came last year, my youngest son, and he's my, you know, mini me. So,
Yeah.
he likes to be at him. Yeah,
Well,
it's good.
as you saw,
So just
my
an
son was
update.
out there, and I put him in danger in a thunderstorm. So be careful how you use him.
Yeah, right.
Yes, so Camille Bruyas was, or I'm sorry, I apologize to people on there. Camille was second at Diagonal de Fou and first at Ultra Cape Town.
Oh, wow.
Cool. So
Lots
the
of
women's
competition.
race
Women's
is
race
going
is
to be
heating up.
awesome.
Yeah.
Zach Miller,
Heck yeah.
male
Run
never
PA.
Oh,
coming
yeah.
in.
Yeah, Zach.
Male side is getting competitive as well. That is exciting.
I just talked to Zach yesterday.
Well, you should talk to him today. He's in a better mood.
Yeah, I bet he's jumping around right now.
That's very exciting.
All right, 7K running company's about to come in, so we've got a watch party going on.
That is fantastic.
I misspoke. 7K is not coming on.
Okay.
It is, looks like Aravipa. That looks like the desert.
Oh, okay.
And I know that giant screen. So
All right.
welcome, Aravipa. Rick Hodges.
Are they gonna talk to us?
No, they
Rick
are staying on
Hodges.
mute.
All right. Rick Hodges is another
Oh my gosh, is
another
that Chris Warden? I just wanted to hear that.
14-time Rick Hodges, another 14-time Hard Rock finisher. So he and Scott Ulmer both get the opportunity to go for a 15th finish. Let's see, we had before that Bryce Warren from Ogden, Utah, Male Never, Larry Pearson. Of course, Zach Miller, second at UTMB this year. So we're very excited for Zach getting the opportunity to do Hardrock. Hideo Takuma from Japan, a Male Never. Emily Halnon from Eugene, Oregon. Kent Ryorchuk from Porta Valley,
Carl
California.
Meltzer.
I heard of him.
Heard of
Carl
him.
Meltzer. I've heard of him. Hard Rock
Heck yeah.
champion.
He has the most
That's
wins.
Five-time Hard Rock champion. Five-time. He's a
Five-time Hard Rock
five-time
champion.
Hard Rock champion.
Hell yeah.
We
Carl.
are gonna have Carl on the podcast. Jeff, maybe we should have you on with us when we bring Carl on the podcast.
Yeah,
I know
I
Carl's
stayed
running.
at Carl's new place in Colorado last year. He was not there, but we actually thought about. He had all his Hard Rock trophies. He has a vaulted ceiling and cabinets, and he had them all across the cabinets. So he has 5 Hard Rock trophies and 5 Wasatch trophies. And so Jesse Haynes and I thought about like hiding them in his house and then just not telling him. And then like when he came home, be like, where's my stuff? And then we'd be like, I don't know, man. I don't know what you're talking about. Somebody must have broke into your house. And then we would tell him like 6 months later, like, hey dude, they're in a box in a closet.
So Carl's my
but we
coach, and I
didn't.
know today he's running I think it's called Blood Rock or Devil
Blood
Dog.
Rock 100. I've done it twice.
Yeah, so he's out there today. So I just shot him a text.
Okay.
He doesn't have his phone on him, but
Ashley Clinthorne from Lakewood, Colorado, and Claire Banarth from Village Neuf, France. Claire finished Hard Rock last year, and then just a week later went on to win the Tahoe 200 outright. First person to finish at the Tahoe 200. So excited to have Claire returning to Hard
so
Rock.
also it looks like we've got Tara Dower in from Virginia Beach, Virginia. If you've seen the picture of the person with the cacti in their arm at Javelina, that's Tara. Also, she's won some pretty big races and is a great runner in her own right as well.
Wow.
First at Run Rabbit Run and female FKT record holder for the Colorado Trail.
Wow. I think our run director, Dale Garland, had the FKT for the Colorado Trail because I think he was the first person to run it.
Shinsuke Isomura from Japan.
Blaze Capadacum from Vancouver, British Columbia, Male Never. We are getting close on all of our categories. We just have 2 more female finishers to draw, 2 more female nevers to draw, 5 more male finishers to draw, and 4 more male nevers to draw. Now there will be lottery, so there will be wait list folks that will go through. And as Jeff Browning was telling us earlier, he thinks if you're in the top 10 or so of the wait list, start
There's
training.
a good shot. Yeah, good shot.
Start training. Absolutely.
So I still have the wait list. I still have the wait
You
list
do?
to hope for.
You still have the wait list?
So I'm okay. I'm a positive person. I'm gonna, but even if I don't get in, I'm okay with that. I want to do High
Yes.
Lonesome.
Yes. This portion
Sarah
of our live
Lavender
stream is
Smith just told us that Nick Curry also got in Western States.
Oh, well, congrats to Nick. That's fantastic.
Dang.
I wasn't paying attention. My focus has been here at Hard Rock, so I haven't been looking over to see. We'll have to do some comparisons soon.
He has to go after
this
Courtney's double record. Sorry.
Yeah, there we go. This portion of our live stream is brought to you by Katula. Katula means directly in Tibetan, and the company was founded to help people get directly where they want to go. Headquartered high on the Colorado Plateau in Flagstaff, Arizona, Katula is ideally situated to design and test outdoor gear, including their flagship Microspikes footwear traction, gaiters, and hiking crampons. Katula's purpose extends beyond products, and they give at least 1% of revenue each year through the Katula Philanthropy Program to support indigenous cultures, outdoor community, and environmental responsibility. We want to thank Katula for being a a proud sponsor of Hardrock and of this live stream. All right, just a few more
One ticket mail
names to
never. That
go.
is pretty crazy.
A one ticket mail never. We had one other one ticket person earlier. I think it was a woman. I have to scroll back and see who that other one ticket, Katrina Hartmuth, and now one ticket Blaze. That sounds like a good nickname, doesn't it? One ticket Blaze.
Dan Barger.
Dan Barger.
Springs.
Steamboat Springs. Brian Peterson from Kansas, mail never. Congrats. Megan Cogswell from Colorado Springs, female finisher with 2 tickets. It's getting really exciting now, down to the last couple of names in each category. Whit Rambach from Incline Village, male finisher. Whit gets to come back for another Hardrock. Tara Warren, female never. Congrats, Tara from Ogden, Utah.
Sean Greeny, Nathan Kurz.
Yeah, one more male finisher, one more male never. Nathan from Longmont, Colorado. Lots of Coloradans. I think that's the state with the most applicants for Hardrock. Stats are thrown off for Hardrock Coloradans because so many people come and do Hardrock and then they move to Colorado as a result.
Ludovic
Pomeray from Prevessin, France. Congrats.
Oh, he's got to be stoked. We talked about it last year at the race. He was there hanging out. He's wanted to get in for a while. He's going to be really stoked.
Yeah, he's got 16 tickets in the Nevers. So hopefully he was prepared and can Francois Dehen. Oh boy, Francois. Yep, it is definitely going to be a competitive run at the front. Francois coming back, male finisher with 3 tickets.
Course record holder in One Direction.
Yeah, we are down to 1 name in each of our categories, and then we'll go to our wait lists. 1 name in each of our categories left, and then we go to our wait lists.
I'll stick around for the top 3 wait lists, and then I'm out.
Okay.
Ludovic was 5th at UTMB this year.
Yeah, and one of the things we talked about is that as a masters athlete, we aren't getting any younger. So we want to get in as soon as possible.
Alexis Camili from the Philippines, our last male never could get drawn. We'll start the never wait list for the men in just a bit. Congrats to Alexis. Super, super excited.
Last female never,
Denise Klatt from Brookline, Massachusetts. Been through there for the marathon. Drew Mayer is our final male finisher to be drawn, Fort Worth, Texas. Congrats, Drew. Margaret Gordon from Albuquerque, our last female finisher to get drawn. We've now filled our slots and we'll start doing our wait lists. We're super excited for those folks that have gotten in. Start your training. Make sure you've got your money in the bank because you're going to get charged soon. And then I need to make that mental note for myself because my name came up a little bit earlier. And now we're going to start seeing some of these wait list folks. I think while we're waiting for the wait lists, let's take a second to to thank iRun Far as media partner of the Hard Rock 100. iRun Far proudly works to elevate knowledge and understanding of the organization's mission to care for the event's community and landscape. iRun Far will be publishing an article shortly after the lottery finishes to summarize its results. So be sure to stop by iRun Far later today. You can also explore the iRun Far archives for more of its in-depth coverage of the Hard Rock 100 since 2011. Thank you, iRun Far, for all you do for the sport and for Hard Rock. Here come the wait list folks.
And
Debbie,
before while
Thomas.
the wait list is rolling, Jeff, just thanks
Yeah.
for being on with us today. It's been
Oh yeah.
fun.
Thanks, you guys allowed me to procrastinate my my tile job today.
We were
Oh,
happy to
Jeff,
give
you
you
were
an
such an
excuse.
asset. Yeah, we really appreciate it. Your insight and your stories are invaluable, and glad to know that if you don't end up coming in off the wait list, that you're going to be in Silverton during Hard Rock
Oh yeah, I'll
and
be there.
training for High Lonesome. So really glad to hear that.
My wife just told me she was watching Western States on the side, said I didn't get into Western States, but that's good. That means I'm doing Cocodona. So I didn't really
That's
want to
right.
get into Western States, but
Anthony
but I like
Culpepper.
to put in. I got to keep the tickets going and building
Got
back
it.
up.
Of course. Absolutely. Absolutely. We got our wait list coming fast and furious. We're super excited. Of course, all of the results will be posted on the Hard Rock website,
As well as open split
including
time.
and as well as open split time. So you'll be able to look at those and watch those. If you are on the wait list, watch that throughout the summer, throughout the spring and summer, as you see those names. Jeff Browning, there you are.
There you go.
That's pretty high on the
What am
wait
I?
list.
What
Did you
number?
count?
Is that 7?
Let's
I
see.
think
I
that
have
was
to
higher than
count
7.
male finishers. Let me look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think you're 7th. I think you're 7th male finisher,
There's a really
I
good
believe.
chance I'm going to be on the start line.
Yeah. Yeah. I could be wrong about that. Don't hold me to that. But I think you're definitely top 10, which is what you were saying to look for. Jason Halston, another male finisher.
It might even come down to me having to be there waiting at the start line 15 minutes before.
Well, I mean, I know that has happened. Pam Reed is also on the wait list. I wouldn't be surprised if Pam shows up there, even if she isn't in by race day, by run day. Pam had an epic year last year, which included Western States, Hard Rock, and Badwater.
All
Dina
right, guys,
Finehouse.
I'm gonna say goodbye. I'm gonna go work
Bronco
on tile.
Billy, thank you so much. Jeff Browning, legend in the sport. We really appreciate you and look forward to seeing you in Silverton. And we'll chat with you soon on another episode of the Hard Talk podcast.
Okay, guys, giddy up.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jeff.
There's David Koblenz. We know him.
Yep,
Congrats.
Good friend.
He's a good what?
Good friend. I guess I have to say nice things about him since we're live, right?
I would say nice things about David Koblenz, even if I didn't have to. He's a nice guy.
If he
and
tells you the
super
weather,
excited.
it's wrong.
Yes, but he is David Koblenz is a longtime volunteer and supporter of Hard Rock and board member Barbara Ulmer. We saw her husband Scott get drawn earlier. Barbara high on the wait list. Super excited. Be great to have both of them in Hard Rock again this year. John Sharpie, congrats on getting onto the wait list. Best of luck. We certainly aren't wishing ill on any of the people who got in, but if for some reason those folks find themselves unable to participate, we're excited for these folks on the wait list to have their opportunity to get in as well. There's Cal Mitchell coming in on the wait list. We had Cal on the last episode of the Hard Talk podcast. People that want to hear Cal's story, you can go and listen to that.
Yeah, we're just cruising through the wait list now. Do we
Absolutely.
want to bring in Derek Dow?
Oh, if Derek is there, we would love to. Derek was one of the first names drawn and would love to talk to him. Hey, Derek.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How about
Fantastic.
yourself?
Congratulations. Are you excited about getting your first chance to run Hardrock this year?
I am. I'm pretty stoked.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So, have you been out to Silverton during Hardrock in the past?
No, I've never been. I've been to Silverton, but not for Hardrock. I ran the Uray 100 back in like 2015, and so I
Uh-huh.
stopped by Silverton, spent the night there one night, and just kind of checked out the area.
Fantastic. Did you finish your Ray?
No, I tried to run it 2 weeks after finishing Vermont 100, and I got about 30 miles into it, and my legs were just dead, and I ended up DNFing.
I'm sorry about that, but you certainly got an opportunity to experience some of the terrain and
Yeah.
definitely the altitude that you'll experience in Silverton.
Yep. Yeah, it's a beautiful area.
It really is. It absolutely is. So, what are your plans now that you're in? Are you going to try to get out there early enough? Hopefully, you got to hear some of the advice that Jeff Browning was given before about dealing with altitude. Are you going to try to get out there a couple weeks before Hardrock?
I don't know if I can manage that much time, but at least I would like to spend a week out there before. That's probably the most that I can take off and be able to acclimatize. I know that's not optimal, but that's what I'm dealing with. So that's probably the best I can do.
So, how did you spend Hardrock Week this past year?
I watched it on YouTube, bits and pieces. I watched the coverage that the Run Steep, Get High people put on. So I was kind of glued to that off and on.
Yep. So, having watched that, is there any particular part of the course that you're most excited about taking on?
It all just looks really, really beautiful and brutal. Handy's Peak, I'm sure that's gonna be fun. The Grant Swamp Pass, that looks incredible. Maybe getting a chance to glissade down the snow, and just all of it looks incredible to me. So
Yeah, absolutely. No, it really is incredible, and we're super excited for you getting in. You were able to relax throughout this entire draw, having your name come up so early. Was there anybody else whose name you were looking for today?
I didn't see anybody that I knew. So yeah, I was just kind of been glued to the coverage a little bit, but I didn't see anybody's that I recognized.
Uh-huh. Yep. Well, there are a lot of people that you will get to know. So at lottery time next year, there are going to be
Yeah.
a bunch of folks whose names you will see, and you'll have stories to tell about the time that you spent out in Silverton and on the trails with them.
Yeah.
So super excited. What did you do as your qualifier?
I ran the Bear 100.
Nice.
Really
I just signed up
popular
for that yesterday.
answer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
really
beautiful
popular
race.
answer. Cool. Very, very cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on to join us today, and we're super excited for you. I look forward to meeting you
Yeah.
in person, and understand you're a Marine.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for your service.
Oh, no problem.
Hopefully, Hard Rock is just going to be a walk in the park compared to what you've been through in your training and in your career. But
I doubt
probably a
that.
little bit different.
Yeah, I doubt it, but yeah, it's going to be a challenge, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, make sure you get on the socials and get connected with all the things that are going on as you prepare. Listen to the Hard Talk podcast, and if you have questions, reach out to the community. Hard Rockers love nothing more than talking about Hard Rock. So
Yeah.
reach out to folks that have got some finishes out there, and they'll give you all of the advice that we possibly can. Thank you, Derek, and
Okay. Yeah,
congratulations.
thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Derek. Yeah, thanks for being
You
on.
bet. Take care, man.
Okay, you too.
All right, next we're gonna have on Dale and Blake.
Wow. Tweedledee
Whoa.
and no, it's
What is it? I thought you guys wore the matching orange and powder blue suits.
How are you guys feeling about the way the lottery has gone today?
Very good. Very, very good. Yeah. I mean, we had record numbers of applicants. We tried this new live stream. Everything's working really well. So I'm real excited, and I'm excited for everybody that got in. And again, I hope everybody is as excited as I am to make their way to the San Juans.
Yeah, absolutely. This is quite a bit different from the way the lottery used to be done.
Correct. Yeah.
How can you explain for folks that are watching how this is different?
Well,
Yeah.
we used to actually cut up and pull physical tickets out of a jar. And once we got up over 20,000 tickets, we decided that was not feasible anymore.
Yeah.
So last year or the year before, we went to doing it electronically.
Well, I think Office Depot said no more. You can't
Yeah.
come in with all these tickets anymore. So
Well, this year
at
would
one
have
time, we
been
actually used to spend the first hour or so of lottery day physically, cutting up tickets. And I'd bring, half a dozen pairs of scissors to the lottery and we cut them up ourselves. And then we got or somebody to do the cutting for us.
Yeah.
But it was still a massive number of tickets.
Right.
This year we had over 30,000 tickets in the lotteries combined.
Yeah.
well,
So special thanks to Mark Obeson and Open Split Time for writing the program and being able to do the lottery now using Open Split Time.
yeah, it probably makes it nice because every 2 polls you would have been at Brad Bishop again.
Yeah.
That's right.
Now I have to say, as someone whose name was drawn, and I'm really excited that I get another opportunity to line up for Hardrock. I'm a little bit concerned about Brad Bishop not being out there. So, and all of us whose names are drawn, I'm sure a lot of us are thinking the same thing. You must have known this was a possibility with as many tickets as Brad had. What's the plan?
What's the plan? The plan, and actually kudos to Brad for kind of working on this for the last 9 months or so. But we are in good hands. The concierge service and the quality of service of the Hardrock aid stations will not diminish with Brad running. He's selected, and many of you know Paul Schoenlob, who's a hard rocker. Paul has agreed to come in and manage and serve as Brad in Brad's stead, and they've been working together for this eventuality. Yeah, so
cool.
So we're good. Yeah, I'm happy for Brad, and I'm looking forward to working with Paul. I think it's cool. He's a hard rocker. He's got some experience. He's a race director, so. Yeah.
Knowing Brad, though, I feel like all of us that are going to be there in Silverton, every time we see Brad get up to do something, we need to slap his hand and tell him to go back to training or tapering. It's going to be hard to keep him from working in those days ahead of the run.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
But no, I think we're really looking forward to, and kudos to Blake. I've got to give a big shout out to Blake Wood this is a Herculean thing to manage this lottery and do it with the quality and the professionalism that Blake brings every year to our lottery. So thanks to Blake for doing that.
Thank you. And now I can do some of the household chores that I've been putting off for the past month that my wife Rebecca has been, asking me to take care of.
Well, I have to ask you,
a woman who understands Hardrock, it's your wife.
It's
Rebecca. This is true. I have to ask you a very important question as well, Blake, because this is the first time in a while, not the only time, but it's the first time in a while that Blake Wood's name was not in the lottery. So what are your plans for Hardrock Week?
Well, I'll be out there, Hardrock Week. And, I don't know, maybe do a little fishing, maybe get out on the course, see some of my friends. The lottery is always a very bittersweet thing because, of course, we are excited to see our friends get in, but also sad that other friends did not get in. But, I'll be out there to see them all out on the course this year.
Neat. Well, it's having done that this past year, being out at Animas Forks, it really is something very special, especially when you've been out there for as many years as you have, really since the beginning. It's neat to be there and see so many people across the years come through and give them a smile, give them a fist bump or whatever.
And I haven't forgotten, Chris, that you kicked my butt out of the Animas Fork aid station last year, just a couple minutes ahead of the cutoff. So thank you.
There might have been some tough love. There might have been some tough love there. But I will say you got out of that aid station.
So it worked, right? It worked.
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, that was an honor. It was an honor to be there, for you and for so many people. especially toward the end of that aid station as it was getting closer to the cutoff. Really that concierge service that you talked about, Dale, is really vital to make sure that that people get in and get what they need and then get out in a timely fashion.
Right.
So I was delighted
Yeah.
to see that firsthand.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yep.
The other thing, I think, again, Blake in his lottery, his acumen with the lottery and his skill and his professionalism. But I also want to kind of say thanks to Dan Ryan, your co-host, and to Brian Colmo, who is behind the scenes for really kind of taking this idea of a live stream and broadcasting the lottery with a live stream and making it happen. So Dan, thank you so much. Brian in the back room, making sure it happens, and Chris, to you, and all the work that you and Dan do for Hard Talk. I think it's a team effort.
Thanks, Dale.
It's a best team I know. It really is. I think that it's something that I've loved, obviously, for a long time. I think all of us have, and so to be able to contribute in this new way is really exciting. The podcast has been a lot of fun. Looking forward to having. We've had Blake on to talk about the lottery. Looking forward to having you on soon, Dale.
Right.
And then we're
With a
going to
special guest if I can make it happen. Right.
Yeah, hopefully so. We really hope that happens.
Yeah.
Did you get to go over and did you get to make an appearance?
I saw a couple of pictures. Yeah, I saw a couple of pictures. We've been texting back and forth.
Good.
And we'll just leave it there and leave everybody hanging about what we're talking about.
Absolutely. And Blake, we're going to want to get you on again. When you were on last time, you were talking about the lottery. Now that we're past the lottery, we would love to talk to you about your Hardrock memories, how you got started in it, and some of the special memories you have over all of the years. So we'll be hitting you up soon.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so now I've got to ask you to make a public proclamation, Chris. Last year, I mean, you handled not getting in with so much grace and so much, you were so magnanimous with it. And you led all of these course hikes that people just loved. And we got so much good feedback and so much positive commentary on your course hikes. Are you willing to do that again this year?
Oh, 100%. 100% I'm going to do it again.
Yeah.
I think it's a very important part of preparing folks for Hardrock, especially new runners, those nevers. So absolutely. Now, that being said, I need help, right? I'm going to be calling on some of my friends that have been out there a number of times, asking them if they'll help out. There you go. people that aren't having to taper, just like we don't want Brad Bishop to be doing too much.
We don't want
too
Chris
close
Quigg
to run.
either. Yeah.
We don't want Chris. But frankly, a lot of those hikes are hikes that I would be doing anyway. We heard Jeff Browning talk earlier about how important it is to kind of get to know the course, know the conditions, and that's been important to me. I am not a Jeff Browning. I'm not a Francois Dehen or a Courtney DeWalter or a Blake Wood. I am not a front runner, never have been, especially not at these 100-mile distances. And so if I can learn what the conditions are and be prepared for the conditions, I can save myself some time out there that one of those front runners might have to spare, but I would not. So those are hikes I'd be doing anyway. So I'll definitely be going out on them, but there might be a few of those hikes that I'm transportation for.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I just think it's such a positive thing in a way. And again, not only giving people the way to orient themselves to the course, but also to build that community, which we've become really well known for, and being able a chance to talk to people and share stories and that kind of thing, which I think is a really important aspect of Camp Hardrock and the run up to the Hardrock.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Dan, you had a minute to process this lottery.
I am 4%, man. We'll get there eventually. It's all good. I'm just happy to be a part, and I'll be at the run this year, and happy to go up the couple weeks before and just kind of be up there. It's the best time of the year. It's better than Christmas.
Kudos to Dan for not only his social media stuff, but he's got. We're proud to be working again this year with Mountain Outpost and Air Vipa to bring a live stream, and that's going to be Dan's baby, and we're really looking forward to Dan, making that happen.
Plans have already started, so if anybody's still on who got in, be on the lookout. You'll probably be getting some emails and communication from us, and trying to get more people involved ahead of time in terms of content production.
Yeah. And one thing, again, it kind of falls to Brad too, is those of you who are still with us, you didn't get in. It's like, I want to be part of this. Again, quoting Brian Como, you don't need a number to be part of the Hardrock family, and we'll be giving the link out to sign up as a volunteer here momentarily after Brad kind of comes down off of his high, because he's got to manage that. He's got to manage that Google form, but you can sign up to be a volunteer here in the next couple of days.
There's lots of work to do.
Yeah. Never a shortage.
It really is.
And dividends in the lottery for you in the future.
Yeah.
Yep. And we heard it from Chrissy Mail. We heard it from Anna Frost. I think we probably heard it from some other folks in their podcast interviews, that getting out to Hardrock before you run is a great idea. So for those that didn't get into the run this year, or pretty far down the wait list, that doesn't mean that you should stay away.
Right.
You should still come out. You should still come be a part. Yeah. There's plenty to do. And and there are some volunteer opportunities, as we heard Blake explain on the podcast. There are some volunteer opportunities that come with an extra chance of getting in the following year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah. And Trevor Peterson and Brett Sublett, and of course, people are always looking for people to help kind of readjust things that Mother Nature shifted over the winter and get it ready for the summer.
Shifted a lot of snow out at Cunningham this past year. That's for sure.
Dan about that.
Yeah, I'm still damaged from that.
But if you're in one of the Never lotteries, coming up the week before Hardrock and helping out with the trail work and perhaps some of the other jobs, you have the opportunity to double or quadruple your chances of getting in the next year. So there's a big dividend associated with volunteering for Hardrock.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's really fantastic. And I'm glad that not all of them require hard physical labor. They all require some labor. But, the trail work, in the old days, the trail work, sometimes when we were doing things on handies, for example, moving those heavy rocks was something that could, you get an extra ticket in the following year's lottery, but you've damaged yourself for the next month.
Cost benefit was called into question, right?
I did it the first couple of years, and then I decided I wasn't getting any younger, and my back definitely wasn't getting any younger. So we need so if you're listening to this and you're young, definitely get out there and put your strong back to work.
Right.
So, well, you guys have got you've got a meeting that you have to do here in a few minutes, don't you?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Well, we're gonna let you go, and we're gonna wrap this up. Thank you again, Dale and Blake. Thank you for everything you did, not just today, but for everything you do every day of the year to make Hardrock what it has been and what it will continue to be, which is the most amazing race on the planet. Amazing run.
Back at you. Back at you, Dan. Back at Brian. The whole team.
Yes. Thank you, guys. This has been really well done.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Bye.
Well, Dan, good job. Good work. Thank you so much for putting this production together today for those 170 that are still watching, and anybody that might watch this later. This is all Dan, who worked super hard to make sure that this could happen. This is our first time doing this. I think this was a successful way of presenting the lottery, certainly more successful than just names being tweeted out on X or whatever it is. So,
and yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Brian in the background. None of this would have been, easy without Brian, because he was the one pushing people in. He was the one telling us people were going to be coming on. There's 1,000 group chats going on behind both of these screens. And just super special thanks to Brian for helping out with this. It's been awesome.
Yep, absolutely. We're really grateful to him. We had several rehearsals to make sure that this could happen, and I think it was a success. I know there were a lot of people that asked questions in the chat that most of them, I think, got answered. There are a few that did not. If you have questions that weren't answered, you can always email Hardrock, and the appropriate person will address those. Or you can just email our podcast, the Hard Talk podcast, and we would be happy to try to address some of those questions or get answers for you if there are things that we don't know.
The email address for that is hardtalk@hardrock100.com. So if you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to both of us. And thanks for tuning in today.